call the regular meeting of Medford Township Council, April 14th, 2026. This meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of April 14th, 2026 was included in a meeting notice sent to the Burlington County Times and the Central Record on January 7th, 2026, and advertised in said newspapers on January 11th, 2026, and January 15th, 2026, respectively, posted on the website and on the bulletin board in the municipal building on January 7th, 2026, and has remained continuously posted as required under the statute. In addition, a copy of this notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Wicker, roll call, please.
Ms. Santamore?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Mill?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Here.
Mayor Sizik?
Here. This evening, we are going to open our meeting with a very special police awards. I'm going to ask the Captain Dunleavy to come up and we'll head down.
Good evening. Tonight we gather to recognize members of the Medford Township Police Department for their professionalism, dedication, and service to the community. I'd like to extend a warm welcome to the family and friends of our officers, distinguished members of our partner agencies, retired personnel, and the community members that have joined us to celebrate the accomplishments of these individuals. I'd also like to express my gratitude to the mayor, the manager, and the Township Council for granting us the opportunity to publicly acknowledge the outstanding work of our personnel. To all the sworn and non-sworn staff, thank you for your professionalism and unwavering commitment to serving Medford Township. Your daily efforts are essential to continued success and safety of our residents. At this time, we'll begin tonight's awards presentation. I'd like to introduce Captain Jeff Samolonis.
I'd like to bring up Sergeant Blash, Corporal Ruskowski, Patrolman Costu, Patrolman Perez, and Communications Officer Vargas. On September 17th, 2025, Medford Police responded to a residence on Indian Pipe Trail for a suicidal male. His wife reported that her husband had barricaded himself in his bedroom by placing a large dresser in front of the doorway and was in possession of several knives and possibly a hunting rifle. The officers quickly cleared the residence with safe tactics, established a command post, and began de-escalation techniques with the subject. This ultimately was unsuccessful as the victim stopped responding to the officers. Due to the immediate threat to the victim's life, the officers forced entry into the bedroom and observed blood coming in from underneath the bathroom door. Officers again forced entry into the bathroom where the victim was found with multiple lacerations to his wrist, forearms, biceps, and neck. Patrols applied tourniquets and rushed the victim to Cooper Trauma Medevac, where he was flown to Cooper Trauma Center. Burlington County Central Communications Officer Sharon Vargas was calm and professional on the radio during the entire incident. She coordinated multi-agency response between law enforcement, neighboring towns, fire and EMS, and through her fluid control of the radio was able to coordinate swift attention to the victim in need. Burlington County Central Communications Officer Vargas is to be awarded a Certificate of Merit for actions in this incident. Sergeant Blash, Corporal Ruskowski, Patrolman Costu, and Patrolman Perez should be commended for their unusual accomplishment of saving the victim's life under adverse conditions with a significant threat to harm to themselves. They are to be awarded a Meritorious Service Medal. Thanks, guys. Detective Tim O'Hanlon. Throughout 2024 and 2025, Medford Township Police and majority of southern New Jersey was plagued by motor vehicle thefts. Medford Township Police responded to one such incident on Tuckton Road where the resident's motor vehicle was stolen in the middle of the night. What began as a seemingly routine stolen motor vehicle report was met with determination and exemplary investigative skill. Detective O'Hanlon successfully identified a series of thefts affecting multiple agencies and ultimately cleared an organized theft ring which targeted the following jurisdictions: Medford, Delran, Delanco, Evesham, Maple Shade, Morristown, Mount Laurel, Pine Hill, Gloucester Township, Camden City, Woodbury City, Cinnaminson, Lumberton, West Hampton, Philadelphia, and mobile jurisdictions covered by the New Jersey State Police. Detective O'Hanlon recognized the scope of this theft ring, organized several multi-county intelligence meetings throughout New Jersey and Pennsylvania, where he detailed key patterns, shared intelligence, and unified investigative efforts, which secured the arrest of 3 individuals. Detective O'Hanlon should be recognized for his outstanding work, unwavering resolve, significant contribution to public safety and interagency cooperation, along with bringing Medford Township Police acclaim. He is to be awarded the Exceptional Duty Medal. Detective Dylan Younger, Analyst Kyle Moyer, and Detective Sierra Gates. On April 24th, 2025, Detective Younger was notified of a burglary which the Medford Township Police had to respond to at Sports Paradise. He secured vital evidence, including surveillance footage and latent fingerprints, along with property theft on scene by the unknown suspects. Through persistent follow-up and interagency coordination, Detective Younger connected the burglary in our jurisdiction to a series of similar burglaries and eluding cases across New Jersey. These include incidents in Monroe Township, Deptford Township, Cherry Hill, Delran, Gloucester Township, Camden, and Evesham. Detective Younger coordinated his investigation with Evesham Township crime analyst Kyle Moyer and Detective Sierra Gates. This led to the identification of a known career offender with a documented history of burglary, theft, and eluding law enforcement. Detective Younger's efforts, along with analyst Moyer and Detective Gates, were instrumental in identifying a stolen Ford Transit van using the majority of these agencies' crimes. Several surveillance operations were coordinated throughout New Jersey and Philadelphia, which led to the apprehension of the suspect in Camden. The suspect was arrested wearing stolen apparel from the Sports Paradise. Makes it a little easy. Search warrants were then executed on the Ford van and suspect's cell phone, which led to additional stolen merchandise, burglary tools, and other key evidence linking the suspect to these crimes. Both Detective Gates and Analyst Moyer should be recognized for their exemplary manner and the professionalism, cooperation with our agency, and for their pursuit of their department's vision. They are to be awarded a Certificate of Merit. Detective Younger should be recognized for his devotion to this case, service to the victims spanning throughout multiple agencies, counties, and states, and his thoroughness in the investigation of these crimes, which brought acclaim to our police department and led to the identification and arrest of the suspect. He is to be awarded Exceptional Duty Medal. Officer Tim Shockley. On May 17, 2025, patrols responded to a motor vehicle collision on Route 70 at North Main Street. Responding officers were aware that multiple injuries were reported on location with vehicles in the roadway, which ultimately required Medford Fire and EMS to respond. While patrols were investigating the accident, 2 males were found to be walking around the scene while wearing firefighter protective gear, a fire department vest, New Jersey State Police T-shirts, and hats. The males aimlessly walked around the accident scene, cutting airbags from involved vehicles, and also attempted to control traffic on Route 70. It was also learned that one of these males had utilized his personal vehicle with emergency lights and sirens to respond. Officer Shockley discovered that neither men were members of our emergency services departments and matched the description of a known first responder impersonator. It was ultimately determined that these men were not merely well-intended passerbys, and they appeared to be engaged in a continued course of conduct to impersonate first responders. Both subjects were charged with impersonation of a public servant. Officer Shockley should be commended for his professionalism, dedication to duty, and his pursuit not only in providing traffic safety, medical attention, and overall scene safety, but investigating these subjects and ultimately charging them accordingly for impersonating public servants. Officer Shockley is awarded the Honorable Service Medal. Lieutenant Knudsen will be taking over from here.
Corporal DiBiase, Patrolman Meeks, Patrolman Snyder, Patrolman Bagali. On October 31st, 2025, Corporal DiBiase, Patrolman Meeks, Patrolman Snyder, and Patrolman Bagali responded to a cardiac arrest call involving a female who was unresponsive and not breathing. Officers immediately initiated CPR and utilized an AED, working together with urgency and precision. Their quick coordinated actions resulted in the victim regaining semi-consciousness before being transported to the hospital. Medical personnel later confirmed that the victim was in stable condition. Officers should be commended for their swift and decisive response to a traumatic medical emergency, which ultimately saved the life of the victim. For their actions, the officers are awarded a CPR Safe Medal. Corporal Roskowski, Patrolman Costu, Patrolman Matthews. On July 11th, 2025, at 3:10 a.m., Medford Police and Medford EMS were dispatched to 116 Dixontown Road for a 65-year-old male with shortness of breath. While patrols were en route, information was updated stating the patient had possibly had a stroke and was now unresponsive. Upon patrols arriving on location, the patient was now in cardiac arrest, and patrols assumed CPR. While on location of the residence, working with EMS and paramedics, pulses were regained several times, and the subject was ultimately transported to the virtual hospital in Marlton and admitted into the ICU. A few days later, the patient was conscious, alert, and speaking. Due to the quick actions taken by Corporal Roskowski, Patrolman Costu, and Patrolman Matthews providing quality CPR and allowing the patient to regain pulses and ultimately regain consciousness and begin recovering, they should be awarded the CPR Safe Medal. Sergeant Falona, Corporal Skowski, and Patrolman Meeks. On May 27, 2025, Patrolman Meeks handled a phone call from a concerned resident who recognized that two young children of school age were out of school and attempting to raise money for their school. Patrolman Meeks located the juveniles, who themselves looked unkept and downtrodden. He identified them, located their mother, and not leaving the incident at face value, followed up with stories that were provided to him. With the totality of information not connecting, DCP&P was notified, became involved, and services provided to the family. On June 11, 2025, Medford Township Police responded to the residence of the family for a well-being check on the juvenile's mother. It was learned she had been missing from work and not attending treatment, and her children had not been in school in 5 days. Officers located the mother at her residence, where she emerged with two juveniles, who Patrolman Meeks previously identified and assisted. The resident's water and electricity had been turned off, and the house was in a horrific state, and poor living conditions were present. DCP&P again was contacted. Sergeant Falona responded from the school resource officer assignment to be with the children, who she had built a rapport with, and Corporal Roskowski coordinated the events at the scene, which led to the arrest of the mother for child neglect. Officer Meeks should be commended for his outstanding efforts through thorough investigation. on May 27, 2025, involving the mother and her children. He demonstrated exceptional attention to detail and a strong sense of responsibility. His follow-up and persistence allowed for the discovery of neglectful living conditions and ensuring the children receive expected care and protection they needed. Sergeant Filona and Corporal Roskowski should be commended for their quick response, care for the children, dedication to our community, and handling a challenging circumstance. Their collaboration contributed to the overall success of the incident and ensured accountability towards a neglectful mother. These officers are recognized with their Certificate of Merit. Detective O'Hanlon. On June 6, 2025, Detective O'Hanlon initiated an investigation into the theft of a motor vehicle and a series of motor vehicle burglaries occurring in the township. What began as a single stolen vehicle report rapidly developed into a complex multi-jurisdictional case involving armed suspects responsible for a pattern of thefts and burglaries across Burlington, Camden, and Gloucester counties. Detective O'Hanlon approached the matter with exceptional diligence and investigative skills. He coordinated with numerous agencies, including Mount Laurel, Camden County Police Department, Strategic Analyst Unit, New Jersey State Police Auto Theft Task Force, and the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office. Detective O'Hanlon identified suspects Jaden Johnson and Isaiah Sierra as armed offenders involved in township burglaries, motor vehicle thefts, and subsequent home invasion. His work also tied them to a larger criminal enterprise operating throughout the region. His efforts directly contributed to the arrest of Sierra and Johnson by the New Jersey State Police Auto Theft Task Force and recovery of firearms and the approval of numerous burglary, theft, and weapons-related charges by the Burlington County Prosecutor's Office. In recognition of his exceptional investigative work, interagency coordination, and service to the community, Detective O'Hanlon will be awarded the Certificate of Merit. On May 31st, 2024, Detective O'Hanlon responded to a series of commercial burglaries at the Medford Township Department of Public Works yard, where offenders had cut the perimeter fence and sold power tools from multiple trucks. With no on-site cameras and limited initial leads, Detective O'Hanlon conducted a thorough scene processing, canvassed for external video, and identified a suspect pickup and a driver via Wawa surveillance. He issued an all-points bulletin which promptly matched a New Jersey State Police arrest, linking the suspect vehicle and driver. Working seamlessly with New Jersey State Police, Burlington County Prosecutor's Office, and surrounding agencies, he obtained charges for conspiracy, burglary, theft, criminal mischief, and contempt, and advanced the case to a guilty plea by a principal offender. Detective O'Hanlon is recognized with a Certificate of Merit. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Lieutenant Roby.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Roby. Detective Tim O'Hanlon. On November 4, 2024, Detective O'Hanlon responded to a reported burglary and theft of tools from multiple work vehicles at Jersey Pools and Spas. From the outset, Detective O'Hanlon approached the investigation with diligence and professionalism, coordinating with patrol officers, processing the crime scene, and securing fingerprints and video evidence. Detective O'Hanlon demonstrated initiative by expanding the investigation beyond the initial report. He linked the suspect vehicle to a related shoplifting incident in Gloucester County, coordinated with numerous outside agencies, including the State Police, Real-Time Crime Center, Camden County Police Department, Intelligence Unit, Burlington County Prosecutor's Office, and the U.S. Marshals Task Force. Through careful analysis of surveillance footage, ALPR data, and interagency intelligence, Detective O'Hanlon was successfully able to identify a former employee as a suspect who was ultimately arrested. Detective O'Hanlon is recognized with a Certificate of Merit. Oh, sorry. Detective O'Hanlon. Detective O'Hanlon investigated a series of vehicle burglaries, thefts, and criminal attempts spanning multiple municipalities in New Jersey and Pennsylvania in the month of December of 2024. Through Detective O'Hanlon's persistent efforts, the suspect was identified and connected to a larger network of crimes spanning several municipalities. Detective O'Hanlon's work was instrumental in identifying and apprehending a prolific offender responsible for dozens of vehicle burglaries and thefts, and then bringing closure to victims across state lines. For his efforts, Detective O'Hanlon is recognized with a Certificate of Merit. All right, you're dismissed. Corporal Ruskowski and Patrolman Fulmer. On July 20th, 2025, at 1:11 in the afternoon, Medford Police were dispatched to a group home at 231 Pine Boulevard for the report of a client on location who had a partial airway obstruction and was actively choking. While en route, officers were updated by dispatch that instructions for the Heimlich maneuver were being given over the phone to the caretakers. Corporal Ruskowski and Patrolman Fulmer quickly arrived on location and located the visibly distressed 46-year-old male victim who was actively choking with airway obstruction. Clearly in a life-threatening condition, Corporal Ruskowski and Patrolman Fulmer, without hesitation and demonstrating critical situational awareness, assessed the situation and immediately performed the Heimlich maneuver until Medford EMS and virtual paramedics arrived on location and took over patient care. Due to Corporal Ruskowski and Patrolman Fulmer's prompt and alert action and their ability to act quickly and efficiently under pressure, assisted in saving this victim's life. Corporal Ruskowski and Patrolman Fulmer are recognized with a Certificate of Merit. Captain, you're back up. Lieutenant Canuso, Sergeant Mack, Corporal Sabatos, and Fred Shear, Detective O'Hanlon, Officer Lang, and myself.
On March 21st, 2025, at 12:31 hours, patrols were provided information from the director of Sequoia Alternative School that juvenile did not show up to school. Patrols were notified that the school contacted the juvenile's mother and discovered that after an argument between the two the previous night, the juvenile made multiple suicidal statements and then ran away. Corporal Sabatos, Officer Shear, and Officer Lang responded to the residence to make contact with the juvenile's parents. Information was gathered to include possible destinations of the juvenile. It was also confirmed that the juvenile has had mental health issues and suicidal ideations in the past, which he was once admitted to the hospital for. Sergeant Mack contacted the juvenile's friend, who advised that he last saw him at 3 a.m. when they went to the Wawa. He had a Snapchat location, which showed 3 hours ago the juvenile was in the wooded area between Springhouse and Medford Lees. Lieutenant Canuso, Lieutenant Roby, Corporal Sabatos, and Officer Shear conducted a thorough search of the area on foot. Detective O'Hanlon deployed the drone and was able to find the juvenile in the wooded area. Officers quickly responded to the area and took the juvenile in protective custody. He was transported to virtual Mount Holly for an evaluation. Lieutenant Canuso, Lieutenant Roby, Sergeant Mack, Corporal Sabatos, Officer Shear, Detective O'Hanlon, and Officer Lang should be commended for their exceptional service to the community in quickly locating missing suicidal juvenile and providing the appropriate services, recognizing them with a Certificate of Merit. Lieutenant Roby, Sergeant Blash, Corporal Ruskowski, Detective O'Hanlon, Patrolman Costu, Officer Reardon, Officer Perez, Officer Fulmer, and Officer Marmoleos. September 22nd, 2025 at 12:08 p.m., Burlington County Central broadcasted a countywide flash for a stolen vehicle out of Mount Holly Township that just occurred. Shortly after, Mount Laurel Police observed the stolen vehicle and attempted to conduct a motor vehicle stop at Route 38 and Ark Road. The operator eluded Mount Laurel Police and fled into Lumberton southbound on Ark Road. Patrols checked the immediate area for the vehicle, which was a tan Toyota RAV4 bearing a New Jersey registration. While checking the area, patrols observed a tan RAV4 parked abnormally and improperly in the dirt portion of Johnson's Corner Farm Market, which was ultimately confirmed to be the stolen vehicle. The vehicle was unoccupied, and multiple witness statements advised the male suspect walked away from the vehicle onto the property in a hurry. Lenape High School was put in a shelter in place, and video surveillance at Lenape was reviewed, which showed the suspect currently walking through the main parking lot of Lenape High School. Patrols located the male walking northbound Hartford Road, where a pedestrian stop was conducted, and the male was detained. Mount Laurel Police arrived on location and confirmed that the male was the same male operating the stolen vehicle at the time it eluded them. Still image provided by Mount Holly Police from the video surveillance of the suspect prior to stealing the vehicle also matched the description of the male that we had in detention. Mount Laurel took the male into custody for eluding. These officers are recognized with a certificate of merit.
Corporal John Zabatos. On March 8th, 2025, at 8:46 in the morning, Corporal Zabatos was one of the officers who responded to the report of a fire inside of Canals Liquor Stores located at 430 Stokes Road. Corporal Zabatos arrived and reported observing flames coming from the inside of the closed business. Corporal Zabatos immediately began to evacuate adjacent businesses, ensuring the safety of the occupants. He then made entry through the rear entrance of Canals Liquors with the assistance of an employee and ultimately used his fire extinguisher to extinguish the fire. Corporal Zabatos should be commended for his actions during this incident that demonstrated his dedication to duty and willingness to put himself in harm's way that resulted in the prevention of further significant property loss. Corporal Zabatos is recognized with a letter of commendation. Officer Fulmer. On May 20th, 2025, at 4 o'clock, Medford Police were dispatched to Odd's Tavern, located at 656 Stokes Road, for the report of a theft. Patrolman Fulmer responded and contacted the manager of Odd's Tavern and the victim of the theft, who was another employee. It was discovered by the victim that an unknown suspect had taken his e-bike and that he had parked outside the rear service door to the building when he arrived at work on this date. Patrolman Fulmer obtained all pertinent information needed for this investigation, including obtaining video surveillance of the theft, which occurred, and the suspect. Patrolman Fulmer distributed a lens notification to all surrounding law enforcement agencies detailing his case, with photographs of the stolen bicycle and as well as the suspect. The lens notification produced the suspect's identification by Mount High Police Department. The suspect was entered as a wanted person, and through networking and communication with Mount High Police Department, they ultimately located and arrested the suspect in their jurisdiction. In the suspect's possession at the time of the arrest was the stolen e-bike. Patrolman Fulmer is recognized with a letter of commendation. Detective Tim O'Hanlon. Detective O'Hanlon conducted a meticulous and multifaceted investigation following an incident at Rita's Water Ice on March 17, 2025, in which a counterfeit $100 bill was passed by a suspect who was later identified. Demonstrating exceptional initiative and analytical skill, Detective O'Hanlon utilized advanced tools to search for possible suspect vehicles and timelines. He conducted interviews, collected physical and video evidence, coordinated with federal agencies, including the United States Secret Service, and established key links between these cases and other incidents in surrounding jurisdictions. Through diligent interagency collaboration, Detective O'Hanlon identified the suspect vehicle and positively connected the same counterfeit bill with multiple fraudulent transactions across state lines. His work not only led to the identification and charging of the suspect, a known repeat offender with an extensive criminal history, but also connected him to a broader criminal network involved in currency and counterfeiting operations. Detective O'Hanlon is recognized with a letter of commendation.
Detective Tim O'Hanlon. Each year, the command staff nominates 3 candidates that they believe are most deserving of the honor of Police Officer of the Year. The ballot is prepared and distributed to all personnel who cast a single vote for the candidate they feel best represents the standard of Police Officer of the Year. These candidates have demonstrated dedication to the mission, goals, and objectives of the Medford Township Police Department, service to the residents of Medford Township, professionalism, ethics, initiative, outstanding job performance, and exemplify the professional ideals of the agency. During 2025, Detective Tim O'Hanlon was assigned to the Criminal Investigative Bureau, where he consistently demonstrated professionalism in his work and interactions with his peers. He embodies the agency motto of integrity, respect, and fairness in the way he delivers law enforcement services to the community. For his actions and performance throughout the 2025 calendar year, Detective Tim O'Hanlon is hereby awarded the Medford Township Police Department's Police Officer of the Year 2020. As I close this evening, I want to thank everyone for attending tonight's ceremony, and once again, I'd like to thank my staff for their dedication, commitment to meeting the continuous challenges we face daily in the growing community. Thanks to the mayor, the manager, and members of town council again for providing us this time tonight and for their continued support of the police department. Thank you.
I'd just like to personally thank all the members of the police department and all our emergency services. I know I can speak for council and all the residents that hearing what you guys and gals do every day is, it's all inspiring, and we really appreciate you being out there. We're going to take about a 5-minute break in case we want to do some pictures or folks want to move on. The rest of the meeting is pretty boring after this. So we'll reconvene around 7:15 if that's okay. All right, thank you. All set? All set, yep. All right, I'm going to reconvene the regular portion of the meeting. At this time, I'd like to have a motion to add a Resolution 88, 2026 to the agenda.
So moved.
This resolution will be added, I'm so sorry.
So moved.
And-
I'll second that.
Okay. This resolution will be voted on after our executive session to give council time to discuss.
Correct.
Correct, okay. So we have a first and a second. We need a roll call to add, correct?
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye, all right. So that resolution has been added to the agenda following executive. Okay, now we are moving on to communications. Does anyone have anything for the public?
I do.
Okay.
I would like to take a moment to personally and as a group thank Jason Kleinman. Jason brought to us 2 meetings ago that we had a discrepancy between our application for board and commissions and what our bylaws actually said. No one had caught it. So I looked at what Jason had said, we reviewed it, council reviewed it. Our application actually went against our own bylaws. An example is that if anyone is on the EAAC, one member of the EAAC must also be on the planning board. And our application did not allow for that. So thanks to Jason bringing that forward to us, we reviewed it, we sent it out to the lawyers to review. The application has been redone. It is back on the website. Pat, do you have anything else to add to that?
No, Deputy Mayor, that's spot on.
All right. Jason, thank you.
Thank you. And if I may add to that, so in this process of, I guess, enhancing or improving the application, folks have put in applications prior, we will accept those applications, but if you'd like to put in a similar new application, you may do that as well. But we do have a roster of individuals that have applied for boards and commissions that we will maintain those applications at this time.
That's a great point. We did remove the deadline on all the applications, so if you put one in, if there's no opening, it will sit there. But when there is an opening, we will have your application on board.
Thank you for that. Anyone else?
There's several things coming up in town. Thursday Food Trucks on Main is on the 16th, which is this Thursday from 5 to 9. The Fur Baby Festival in Freedom Park, that's this Saturday from 12 to 5:30. And we have a Township shredding event at the Recycling Center. And then next Friday is the Arbor Day celebration at Taunton Forge Elementary School. So there's a lot coming up in town.
Thank you for that.
Just continuing on from Councilwoman Milk, we have a lot of events coming up in May as well. On May 2nd, from 10 to 2, we have the Treat Your Pup fundraiser at Freedom Park. Also, May 2nd, we have Music on the Porch. That will be happening on Main Street. May 11th to May 16th is St. Mary's of the Lakes Carnival. May 21st is the third Thursday Food Truck Night on Main. And the 23rd to 30th of May, we have the Field of Honor at Freedom Park. And that will be culminating with the Memorial Day Parade ceremony on the 25th of May.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move on to scheduling items. Our next scheduled meeting is April 20th, 2026. It will be a special council meeting at the Public Safety Building right here at 6:30. The following will be April 28th. Will be a special public hearing at the Public Safety Building. That will be at 5:30. That will be followed on the same day by a town hall meeting at the Public Safety Building at 6:30. So it's back-to-back meetings. And that town hall meeting was originally scheduled for April 23rd. We had moved that to April 28th at 6:30. All right. Moving on to approval.
Mayor, I'm so sorry. I do need to ask the council's permission. My daughter is very pregnant and very ready to go. So with your approval, I will have my cell phone on me today and look at it sporadically, only for her. But we are awaiting. She is 2 days away from her due date, first child.
Awesome.
So
No problem at all.
it will be up there. Thank you. I'm ready.
All right, we're going to go to approval of minutes. We have minutes from March 3rd, 2026, council meeting minutes, and March 17th, 2026, executive session minutes. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the minutes? No. Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. I'll second.
Okay, and all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Minutes are approved. Okay. Next up, we have discussion items. We will begin with ordinance 2026-11. This ordinance is amending Chapter 71, Fees and Licenses for the Township Code of Water and Sewer Utilities. Chief Dovey, would you like to speak to that?
Yes. So our Director of Public Works, Brian Kopp, has recommended we increase our water and sewer fees. There we go. Because they have not been increased since 2010, we're pretty far behind everybody else. So by increasing these fees, we will only go up from where we're currently at 23rd place to 13th on the overall list. So this is necessary just to keep and maintain operations of the water and sewer treatment plant.
Perfect, thank you. And just that ranking that you just described, what's the sample size of that ranking? Is that Burlington County? Is that?
That was similar municipalities throughout Burlington and Camden County.
Thank you.
Yep.
Just, and I know I have a bullet point here just to discuss. I know we've received recent notification that one of our major water suppliers has a potential 18% increase in their charges to us, and we're going to engage in potential litigation. I don't want to speak out of turn.
Correct. The township is looking to join into essentially a county and statewide litigation against this water supplier in regards to this drastic rate increase. Township is planning on joining said litigation. They won't be spearheading it. It will be led by another municipality. But in the event there is a successful result, it would prevent the enactment against the Township of Medford.
Great.
And it is on our list to join.
Great, yep, thank you for that. Anyone else have any questions or comments on this pending ordinance? No? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to nonprofit events in public facilities. Someone?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. So I had asked to bring this up for discussion as a result of a meeting I attended with some area nonprofits here in town. One of the statements that was made was that when nonprofits such as Medford Business Association or Main Street Merchants conduct an event here in the township, that they are responsible for contracting with a vendor for, like say, Bob Drayton for porta pots. And as such, they, pay the full cost of that. One of the things that was asked is whether or not council would consider having those contracts go through the township, as the township is able to get those units at a state contract rate versus what these nonprofits are able to do through these various vendors. So I just wanted to bring that to council, see what other council's thoughts on that would be. Obviously, the nonprofits will continue to be responsible for the reimbursement for those costs, but it will be at a much lower rate than what they're currently paying to those vendors.
I have a similar situation that I was involved in when I was the MYA president of softball. Those events are held on municipal land, but the nonprofit entity was responsible for the porta pots, and I know that the rate that we paid was higher, just because I know both numbers, that was higher than the number that the municipality is contracted to pay. I guess one of my concerns is going to be that if we become the administrative arm of these nonprofits to administer these contracts between vendors, that may just be a cost to our municipal staff that we have to be aware of. I'm not saying that we necessarily say no to that, obviously,
right.
But that was, I'll go way back, like 2010, 2011, that was one of the major items during that separation of nonprofit and municipal services. Porta pots was on the list, lighting services was on the list, lawn care and maintenance, those sorts of things. So I just get concerned that if it's porta pots now, then we have to kind of retroactively go back to all the other nonprofits that we're providing some service to, and look at those entities, and then maybe potentially what's the next thing that may come up. For the right reasons, we want to save them money as well, but there might be a way that we can work with them and the vendor to try to work out a price agreement without us actually being involved. But
some of them, either that or maybe, kind of considering a minimal administrative fee for the township processing that on their behalf. Because I do recognize the value that these organizations bring with these events and what they bring into the township in terms of just not only our residents, but also residents from the outside and surrounding communities to bring in, which I would hope that will all help balance those costs out, maybe somewhat offset some of those costs as well.
yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, the Art and Wine Festival, it's one day, but if you think about it, it's about
Right.
8 hours.
Yes.
Right? It's not a weekend event. And I know several people that have come from out of town and even out of state to that event and moved to Medford because they came for that event. So there is a draw aspect to it that we should consider. I think we can discuss the potential administrative fee as an option.
It's definitely a possibility. I will own up as someone who's put together some big events and had to deal with porta potties. As the numbers change, then you have to make another phone call. Oh, we don't need just 6, we need 8. And then what if one falls over? Because let me tell you, if they fall over, you get a whole new game. They charge you extra because the goodies inside came up. If there's a storm, they won't come collect them, so then you have to coordinate another time. So I know I sound like I'm kind of like nitpicking a little bit. I don't want town hall to do it because as much as we say the administrative fee, an hour should be plenty, right? To set up porta potties, it should be an hour. But what if there's a storm? What if there's this? And what does number of people grow or the number of people diminish? Everyone else's taxpayers are paying for their one event to be set up. So for me, I would rather work with the companies to say, if Medford gets this town rate, why can't we give it to Medford events? I'd rather work it that way and leave town hall doing town hall business. It's my personal opinion.
Any further questions or comments?
No, I want to think about it a while.
Yeah, definitely.
it's a lot of ramifications I didn't consider.
Yeah. It's those next steps.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree that supporting the nonprofits is
Absolutely.
going to definitely be a big, an important thing that we can do as council.
Yeah.
All right. Anything on that, Chief?
No, like I said, I can take it back and we can look into it a little bit further, maybe reach out to the company and see what kind of additional pricing we can, work with them on.
Yeah, if you want to work with Medford, this is the rate for
Yeah.
Medford and all of Medford's
Right.
events.
I mean, we do plenty of events here in town, so there's definitely a need for,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So now we'll open up for public comment. As I state every time, this is a very sacred thing that we're about to do. Many people lost their lives and are still fighting today for the freedoms that we're about to experience. We will limit each speaker to 5 minutes. If there's the absolute need for one additional minute, we'll give you one extra one. I feel horrible that while I'm listening and writing down the notes of the current speaker, I forget who's next. So I would just ask, if you'd like to speak, please come up. We've reserved the front row. That way, the next person in line can just come right up to the microphone, and I don't have to remember who is next when I'm trying to take the notes. But if you'd like to speak, feel free to come up, and if you'd like to speak after the current speakers, there's plenty of seats up front to speak. Oh, and I'm sorry, I'll ask Chief Dovey to keep the time, provide me a 1-minute warning, and then we'll go, if council allows, the additional minute in certain instances that are needed. Okay, who would like to go first?
Sorry, I'm moving slow tonight.
My name is Marianne Holloway. I have a quick question to ask. The minutes that are approved, they weren't online for the public to see. Wasn't there usually a procedure where you posted the minutes and the agenda, and then the public had a chance to see what the minutes were before you voted?
You won't post the minutes until they're approved.
Right, they have to be approved by council.
So if there's an error in them, how is it corrected?
We've amended this if there has been errors. It's same with the bill list. We've done that as well. So if you find errors, please bring them to our attention.
All right, thank you. I'm going to be presenting tonight on the record again.
Hold on, before you start, because I don't want to use your time. Was there an error that we should look into?
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay. I just thought maybe you were talking because you had found one.
No, I have found them previously,
Absolutely.
but it doesn't.
I was just going to start on it early. No
Is
problem.
that a legal requirement? It's not logical. Is it legal that you don't publish them before they're?
Yeah, it's similar to how the ordinances are, we have to approve first reading of an ordinance, and then it goes to the public, then you have time to review it, and then there's a second reading.
But that doesn't apply to minutes. You don't,
Minutes are just drafts until they're formally approved.
Yeah.
the minutes are draft.
Yeah.
So they're read tonight, approved, and then at next meeting.
Right, so once they're approved tonight, now they're public and they're official. But until they're approved by the governing body, they're just in a draft form.
But they're approved at that point.
They're approved
Now they
at this
All right,
point, yes.
thank you. What I'm going to be handing you is, at the last meeting, I handed you a report from 2015 for the environmental restrictions and the vacant land inventory analysis report that eliminated the land that you have now designated to be built on. I filed a formal objection back in January 13th, 2026 with Fair Share. I think it went in the garbage can. I also had given a copy to the previous board, the previous council. The documents that I'm going to give you support the report that was prepared by ERI. So I filed the formal objection with Fair Share. I will be filing another one with them, but I wanted to make sure you had the copies and that it becomes part of the record. You don't have to get it.
Here, you're hurting. I'll do it. I got you.
The report I handed you supports and details the environmental restrictions on the land that they are now doing testing on, and it's pretty detailed. After you read that, and after you read the 2015 report, you'll understand why ERI designated that vacant land report and why they did it, and why you should not be moving forward on the land that is now, but I think it's a moot point. There's a discussion going on, and I want to make something very clear. It seems like the council feels that I'm the only person that's objecting to what's going on, or I'm the only one that's a proponent for these deed extensions. People are watching online, and it seems like if they're not here and you don't see them, they don't count.
I'll take care.
I've had 14 phone calls this week from senior citizens asking what's happening. I've asked them to come. They will be here in the future. I do think that the council is going to owe them a detailed explanation. I'm going to ask this formally. I'm asking formally. It seems like this council wants me to take the lead, to go into a public entity, to go into DCA, or to go to Fair Share and get you something in writing. That isn't going to work. Everybody knows that unless it's a governmental agency to governmental agency, but I was promised that I would be a part of it. I think that with all the effort that I've put in, and I think with my knowledge, I feel, and feelings don't matter, but I feel that it would be not only in the best interest of the community, but in the best interest of the council to have my knowledge. And what I have found after having conversations with DCA is that nobody there is trained on the new law. That they're sitting there thinking that the old rules apply, and they don't. Medford has an opportunity to be on the forefront of something extraordinary, not only to help affordable housing, but to shape affordable housing. It seems like you guys don't want to do that. I don't think that you want to go to court. I don't think you want to implement it and then, go ahead. Okay. I don't think you want to go to court. I don't know why. Because the law is in our favor. I know that it's going to take units down from D.R. Horton. It's going to save money for the community. It's going to save senior citizens. There is no loss other than revenue to a large corporation. The other thing that it does is it gives you guys a time to take a breather and figure out the rest of it. I don't know why, and I would like an answer why, with all the effort that's being put in, it's not being taken seriously.
So I'll actually go first, Mayor, if that's okay, because
Yeah.
I did use the word lone voice, and I apologize for that. By lone voice, I should have said strong voice. By lone, I didn't mean alone, more the one voice that we constantly hear, in a good way. So
Right.
if that's how you took that, I am very willing to say, my apologies.
Thank you.
But lone voice crying in the wilderness, the good Lord was a lone voice crying in the wilderness. That is the only way that I meant lone voice, but it could have been taken multiple ways, so not a problem. Flip side, I have called all of those agencies as I gave you my word I would do. And every single one, from Project Freedom, Emily there, amazing woman,
Yeah, she
DCA, multiple people, and on and on. And every single one has told me, not just our current council, not our previous council, who, like many of you, did not believe, no problems there. I made the phone calls myself. And it's why I say to every single one of you, make the phone call yourself. DCA will tell you. You can get the numbers from Tryout on where our deeds expire. And they will tell you, just like they've told me, just like they've told Councilman Cox, I presume our lawyer, that no, you cannot do the deeds that are expiring. The example one gentleman gave me was, Michelle, what if you extended the deeds for 100 years? That would clear out round 5, clear out round 6, and put us into round 7. Can you guarantee that house will be there? We can't. It's double dipping. As soon as that expires, then we can count it. I wish to the good Lord that we could interpret it the way you do. And when I say to you, get it to me in writing, I literally mean if you can get one single person.
Will you go with me?
I'll call with you.
Ray, will you go with me?
I call you.
Can we make this happen?
You pick a day I'm not working. I do work a lot.
I will make it happen. If
That's
you can help me
fine.
make the phone calls. I've reached out to Troy.
But I will ask in the interim then that you stop, as will all of us, I'm speaking for my group, stirring people up until we know for sure. Because I know for sure what they've told me. You feel very strongly about what you've been told, but nobody will give it to you in writing.
I haven't.
So
Go ahead.
let's do it.
Let's
And
clarify
then
this.
together, we will present to the town what the DCA told us together. I am that sure. I pray I'm that wrong, and I pray you're that right. But between now and then, we have got to stop this back and forth, getting people to stress and worry. And when I say that, I mean a really short timeline. The phone call needs to be made. We need to do it together in a very short period. Not a month from now, next week or two.
Oh, that's.
Has
Here's
to-
what I'm going to tell you, and I want you to hear me sincerely. There is a difference between talk and the written law. When that legislation was put through, I don't care what they tell you. When I read the law, and it has changed, they can tell you all they want. If we go and we have a meeting, and they keep saying, oh, no, but we have it in writing, we're going to have to cross that bridge when we come to it on what this township's willing to do. So, and you can't say it now. I know you're looking towards the council.
Of course.
I don't think that until we have that conversation, that next step can happen.
Which next step? Just so that we're all cards on the table.
If we get to the point where the law says that we are correct, it's in writing, it's in black and white, and we hit a roadblock, what the decision's going to be about that roadblock, I think that we need to take that first step. I think it has to be not only with DCA, not only with Fair Share, but it has to be with Senator Singleton. He wrote the law.
The last one?
Senator Singleton, he wrote the law. So I think it's got to be all of them, and I think the level of knowledge has got to be great, and I think the level of determination has to be the same.
The level of determination is 100% there if the law is in our favor. I've read it as well. I have done more homework on COA and affordable housing
Yeah, it's
than I
awful,
ever
isn't it?
thought I would know. And that's fine. I took
I
that
mean-
responsibility when I asked you guys to vote for me. And you did, so I have to do it. It's right. I will do DCA. I will do Fair Share. I will
Just
do
let me
quite
know
a bit.
when. I will make myself available, even if I got to cancel my priest.
But
I will make it
will
available.
never diminish our current lawyers who are reading it and also counseling the town, because they too are out to protect this town. It is not just us.
Sir, if you don't have a conversation with me afterwards, I'll go to the law with you.
Absolutely.
All right. It's in a higher level conversation.
Sure.
But if you can let me know, I can't call. They will not make an appointment with me.
I literally just sent an email to the one director that I've been in contact with at DCA to schedule another meeting. So once I have a date and time back, I'll be in touch with you and Deputy Mayor.
Do they have the authority to make a decision and analyze the law and come back and make a determination?
No. So, all right. So the biggest problem is the way the law is crafted is categorically it does not permit the utilization of a previously credited deed. I'm sorry. I thought I was. So I said the problem is categorically the way the law is crafted and the way the law is written, it does not permit the use of a credit twice when the credit previously had not expired. That's the problem. Now, in the law, there's this vague passage that allows for the extension of affordability controls. Now, that extension of affordability controls just extends that previously utilized credit. You don't get to extend it and then count it as a second credit. That's why the credit has to first expire. Because when the credit first expires, then you can utilize it as a brand new credit, and then you can extend it for that extended period of time. Now, take it one step further. There's principles known as preemption. There's principles known as statutory construction. Now, when statutes on their face are read, they're given their plain meaning. Now, the enabling statute that governs the affordability controls, there's also a provision in there that requires the DCA adopt its own regulations. Now, this statute creates a field preemption principle, which states that the legislature, through the DCA, intended to adopt a fully comprehensive plan for how to utilize and how to count affordability controls. That is the plan. That is the black box. You cannot take something that's not in the black box and use. A municipality cannot utilize a credit that is not written verbatim for being permitted. Otherwise, it is preempted and thus unlawful. Now, I get it. I wish I was wrong.
You are wrong.
Show me in the ordinance.
Okay,
Exactly
it's
where.
58. It's 5-80-26-1.
Okay.
So the law was sketched, that was slated, is in two parts.
Yes.
Then there's the rules and regs.
Yes.
All right, when the rules and regs were done, the 50-80-26 implements the statutes through these regulations, defines the preservation units. It confirms the minimum of a 60-year affordable control period. Critically, it does not add any new timing limitation that appears nowhere in the statutes. It does not say a restriction must expire before 2025. The restriction does not say it must expire before 2035. The restrictions extended before the fourth round are countable. Under this, the meaning of the phrase "at the time of preservation" means the moment the municipality executes the extension of the deed restriction, it says just that. It does not mean when the restriction expires. It does not mean that restriction must be close to expiration. They went further in the regulations to expand on the reason why they did the legislation. You're missing the second part.
Marion, ma'am.
And I'm
if
going
I
to give
may.
you your time.
Yep.
I know when I'm in the middle of an explanation and a deep conversation, I understand. But what I'm saying to you is, this is why I'm asking to sit in on the meetings.
I believe
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees, Councilman Cox,
Okay?
Affordable Housing
I look
Subcommittee,
forward to the
plus
phone
our
calls.
council is more than interested in hearing everything you have to say.
Okay.
And I know the public is very grateful for all the work you do. I just feel for the sake of the public,
I will be
you made
respectful.
a strong case, and they will definitely look into it with you.
I just want to say there are many senior citizens out there that are now, with the letter of intent they signed, wanting to know a status.
Oddly enough,
All right.
our town
So,
manager can speak to that.
I have been communicating. I'm going to talk to you afterwards, but I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention. Thank you for working with me. I've put my heart and soul into this, and my mind and knowledge. I just don't come up here to talk.
We appreciate everything.
Thank
you're
you.
doing. Thank you. Okay, next, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Harris DiUlio, 39 Bank Street. First of all, I would like to thank you for acknowledging our officers earlier. I would have loved to have heard everything that they were saying, which I didn't hear a word of because I was back there, and I can't hear, and I don't think most people can hear, anything that's going on up here. So all those lovely things that they said about the officers and describing everything they did so beautifully fell on deaf ears. So please look into this audio system you've got. Okay, that's like a
Where were you
nothing.
seated, ma'am?
I was standing in the lobby. Did all of you
the
hear
lobby.
every word that was being said?
They all heard it.
No, I see some no's. You did,
No?
okay, so just check it. Like one of you should sit here one night and listen, because you guys are talking between yourselves beautifully. You are really good. You are speaking up. But anyway,
My
so
children
that's
would just tell
nothing.
you I have a big
Another
mouth.
thing, just number 2, the agendas that were in the back were from March 25th. So I have no idea what we're doing here. And the final thing is, I just want to ask Marianne Holloway, who...
I'm sorry to stop you. Do you have a copy that was in the back from March 25th?
Yeah, it's on the chair back there. You want me to get it?
Yes, please.
March 18th. The one right there, you got that. I said, it's the wrong agenda. Yeah, because I said to someone in the room, where is it listed? on
They
the
won't hear you
agenda?"
unless you're at the
Oh, I'm sorry.
microphone.
Where is it listed on the agenda that they were doing all this for the police officers? And I took it to someone and they said, oh, you've got the one from March 18th. That's what I took from the back.
Into the group.
That's a stupid thing. I don't care. Just kind of fix it later. I don't need it now. Somebody should check
Those
that.
were left over.
Huh?
Those
Yes,
were left
probably.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
Great
proper
catch.
agendas were in the folder in the back. Thank you.
It was empty. Okay, moving on. I just want to ask Marianne directly, if you don't mind. Are you talking about the extending the existing deed restrictions?
Ma'am.
Okay, so I didn't understand that.
Okay.
I wanted to know that that's what she's talking about, which involves how many properties?
I think there's 59 others in intent, but I don't have an official number.
Yeah, whatever, like 59,
Yeah.
60.
We can have this conversation after
Yeah, I
public
just
comment
wanted
if
to
you'd
know what
like.
she was
Would you like to
talking
address
about.
the council? Would you like to address the council?
I'm asking you,
Okay.
did you know what she was
Of
talking about?
course, we've had
Okay,
several
good. I
conversations.
know, I figured that, but I didn't.
Okay.
So I was like, what was she talking about? So she's talking about extending the existing, right?
Correct.
And that would give us 59 of the 600. How many do we need?
May I use your time?
How much?
May I use your time to answer you?
Sure, go-
Okay,
yeah,
I'd rather ask.
just-
Right now, there are 59 folks who are interested. It's actually 58 because one rescinded. Those folks are interested in extending their deeds.
Right.
There's also corporations who own deeds on homes, and
I
we've
know.
reached out to them as well. For us, the problem is that none of them expire until after 2037. So they would not, for us, and we'll look into it more, will not cover round 4. But we are looking into them and putting
That
the
would
money
help.
aside
Is that
for
the
round.
point? It would
yeah,
help?
because I'll say it again loudly. My goal for round 5 is 0.
Right, okay.
Putting it out there, folks. So those are some of the tools that we can use.
Excellent, thank you.
Absolutely.
Great. Next. Mayor Lucas, would you like to go?
Ladies first. Well done. Knew it.
Good evening, everyone. Once again, I'm back up here about our Safe Street initiatives. Jim has requested an updated monitoring report. We're awaiting that any day. But we know for a fact we're over 365,000 cars per month, and we're over 1,800 trucks. So we need to have this really nailed down prior to these affordable housing projects going on. And to that extent, we're requesting that council stipulate that the construction vehicles not go down Taunton Boulevard at any time during this process. At some point in the very near future, our road is going to have to be repaved. It's in terrible condition. We have the weight of the trucks. And again, I go back to not only the number of cars, but the weight of the trucks. Those are the two key points, and we keep hammering that, but it needs to be done. And I'd like to, in advance, thank Councilwoman Voorhees and Councilwoman Milk for coming out and doing a site visit this week with Jim and I. I think it's important that you see the road in action and see what we're going to be up against in the event that we don't get a prohibition on those construction vehicles. It's going to be critical to anything going forward. We can't tolerate it. It's just impossible. And aside from that, you know, there's the concern. One of the trucks that came down the street today was going at least 55 miles an hour. And behind it, 2 other vehicles, out-of-state vehicles. I couldn't catch them fast enough, but they were at least two others going equally as fast in broad daylight. So, we have grave concerns about things going forward. It's safety, it's quality of life, it encompasses the whole ball of wax, and we really are up against it. I don't think we're getting any kind of feedback from the county at all. And I think we need to either collectively through council, do something to draw their attention to this. I know, I think it's Commissioner Eckel is the one responsible for transportation. I don't know whether we reach out to her or whoever is currently chair of that group, but we really need to get some action. We can't wait for Evesham. We have to move forward. And my concern is that I don't know how swiftly, once these approvals get passed for the affordable housing, how quickly they're going to ramp up and start. And we have to have our position in place, nailed down before any of that begins. So we're really very concerned about that. And, anybody that comes down our street will easily understand what the problem is. And it's inconceivable. We have kids riding on electric bikes. There's no shoulder. It's people pass when you go to turn in your driveway and they're in somebody else's yard as they pass around you. And it's just become, it's beyond chronic. It really is. And it's becoming a nightmare every day just to get out of the driveway. I had a friend come over today. I had to stand in the middle of the road to let her back out because the cars were going so fast. She didn't have an opportunity to just easily get out of the driveway. So it's very serious. And I don't know to what extent you can do this. I guess council would have to be involved, but that this council draft a stipulation going forward that no construction vehicles related to the affordable housing projects come down Taunton Boulevard.
We'll take a note of it. We are negotiating the redevelopment agreement. We'll see what we can do. The biggest issue, I'm sorry, I know I'm about to be yelled at. I said I'll take a note of it. The biggest issue is it is a county road, so the township doesn't have the authority to regulate traffic on it, but we are actively negotiating the redevelopment agreement for these projects, and we'll see what we can do. We'll have to work with the county. We'll have to work with the other municipal agencies, but we'll work for it.
Thank you. As far as we're concerned, we'll meet with whomever to keep this momentum going because something has to happen due to the time limits and constraints that are out there. The other thing, sort of not directly related to that, but regarding a tax issue or a bond issue, who will be responsible for the basins in these developments?
For the what?
I believe there's a maintenance bond
There
from
will
the
be
builder.
there will be a maintenance bond, but the redevelopment agreements haven't been executed, nor have the redevelopment projects been filed with the planning board. But 99.9% likely, there's going to be a homeowners association that will maintain all the internal improvements for the development. That is typical for these kind of projects. Those individuals that get the benefits are the ones who pay to maintain it. In the event that they fail to maintain it in accordance with the bylaws and the stormwater maintenance plan, then the township could always go onto the property to make the corrected repairs and then assess taxes at a pro rata amount to those property owners only within the redevelopment area.
Are you saying that that applies to the fair market residents and the affordables?
No, everybody.
The entire community?
Correct.
Okay. And so then sort of related to that, so who will post the bonds for that?
The developer.
Okay. And then Triad will be responsible for the
regulating the affordable
and monitoring.
Correct.
Okay. All right, I have other things, but I'll wait until another time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we can talk on Thursday.
Yes, we will be there.
And Chief and Pat, I don't want to take up much time, but are we able to, I know our engineer's not here, but there were some advancements in the weight restriction conversation.
Yeah, so I know Chris Knowles sent the two resolutions, 40-2025 and 70-2026 to the county. There was some pushback about some specifications, but Chris is working with the county on those for the weight restrictions.
So we are moving forward with the weight restrictions, even though we don't have neighboring municipalities' support in that. We've passed, previous council has passed a resolution. We as a governing body has passed a resolution to move forward with those matters, and many of the topics discussed during the Taunton Road Subcommittee are being addressed over time. There'll be a Falls Road update coming as well. All right, next, I believe Brian is next.
Brian Carnes, 216 Church Road, Medford. I guess I got a bunch of questions, but it dawned on me tonight. Are you guys passing a budget? Is that what?
No, sir.
No?
We are doing a budget presentation, and there will be a timeline for how the budget will be introduced, more conversations, and then an ultimate adoption period in, forgive me, end of May.
Okay. Is there public comment after you introduce
Yes.
this tonight?
Oh, no, this is just a presentation.
Presentation.
The introduction, just so we all are aware, will be on the 20th, and then there's a meeting on the 28th, the 5th, and the 19th.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
I'll go
great.
over those dates when we get
All
there.
right, cool.
Yeah.
I only ask because, last year, there was, and it might have been actually when you put the budget through, or I thought it was a presentation. Board was down behind you.
You will see that tonight.
Okay, there was no public comment after, and Mayor Rebstock said, hey, look, just come to the next meeting. The next meeting started out with, hey, 800 homes are coming to the north side, and obviously everything about the budget had been pushed aside. I think in the future, it wouldn't hurt to have some public comment. I wanted to come up and say, I think it's great that you guys are doing some things more in-house last year. I had something good to say, and you still blew me off. But next time, do public
What would you like to
comment
say?
right after.
Good.
I thought
We
it was
wanna hear that.
great, the ideas about beefing up the public works, the trucks you guys were getting. This was last year. I don't know how all the services went through.
Okay.
If everybody's happy with them. But I thought it was a smart way for the township to take control over the vendors robbing us and everything else that goes on with subbing out work. And if you can do it in-house, you're always better off and hire locals. And so that was what, I was curious about. And then I have more questions like, once the budget goes, you guys are really introducing it, just how much trouble are we in town with our finances and planning out the next round of affordable housing? Do you have ideas how to fund that? Mistakes we were made, how to fix some of that stuff. So that was part of it. I think that Mary Ann's been doing a great job. I really do. And I'm sure if you're on the other side of it, it sucks. But this is what this country was founded on. Is
Correct.
people like
Does
herself
not suck.
questioning.
Correct.
And for good reason. It still seems so confusing. What Murphy passed, it was right before he leaves office, right? It's a lifeline for certain towns. I'm sure somebody he knew was asking him because of their town. I had been up at the affordable housing thing, and I had understood the deed restrictions before I even heard about this new, would you say he passed a law or an amendment or something? Murphy did?
Yes, I'd have to look it up to speak to a
But the actual verbiage,
It's a new
it's a new
law.
law,
Yeah.
right? Did Tim Prime tell any of us about that?
2 years ago?
I think it was last year.
The newer one was just last year.
Oh, okay.
Nobody. Did your solicitor tell you guys, Bethany and Mike, hey, we got this new law that literally gives us some wiggle room, I believe.
But the deed restrictions you're mentioning.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't want to contest what we're going to just go through a due diligence period to ultimately all agree on, but it's to our understanding right now, and I don't want to speak for everybody, it's at least my understanding, that the deeds must expire in the round in which you would like to renew them, so then they apply.
But there was already a law on there about the deed restrictions. Before Murphy even talks, right, you have this rule around the deed restrictions, and you can extend them, 100%.
Sure.
100%.
Then Murphy adds a second law, kind of, I guess, opening it up a little bit for these deed restrictions to extend them. And he still didn't change anything about them having to expire first, because that doesn't really...
And keep in
It
mind,
doesn't
part
make
of what
any
was
sense.
changed
Does this
was
make
the
any
amount
sense
of
to anybody
years.
up here as neighbors and residents of this community, what we're even doing with this affordable housing project? We're letting some expire, we might not renew, corporations own some of them. I mean, there's just a lot of money. So I fully expect when we got hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in profit here, okay, for us to, for somebody like herself to just keep hearing no, 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 because we're talking a lot of money being taken off the table. I think that this is a great deal for Horton to begin with, and I don't know why he couldn't scale it down a little bit, and everybody still get filthy rich from it. For real. The deed restrictions, now someone turned it down. That was because 17 grand wasn't a lot of
They
money.
didn't turn it down. They just rescinded their offer. Tax-wise, they had concerns.
Okay, because I know somebody, and I believe in Burlington City, they received $25,000 to extend theirs. Would you say 17,000 is a really low number?
We took the average. It's not to say that's the number that we'll stick to in the end, because we're not doing it right now. But we took what the average was and upped it a little bit.
I think
The
it's
average is
important.
actually 15,000. And please, again, do your own research.
Well, why? Let me
So that's
ask you
why we
this.
went
If
up a
I'm in
little
one of
higher.
those deed-restricted homes, why would I turn down, A, the money, but B, extending it? What would be my reason to do that?
I really couldn't think of one unless you want it out.
So I'd be asking these questions and so that we could figure out,
No,
okay,
I've
in the
had tons of
future, like, because I don't know why
conversations,
anybody's turning money down and extending their
We're
their
just
cheap
not
rent
offering
here.
it right now. This was all letters of interest. Who would be interested in knowing
58
more?
out of 59 deeds, privately held deeds, at least signed a letter of intent. That's a pretty
Of
good
interest.
ratio. Interest, I'm sorry.
But now we're hearing, because at first, the solicitor last year said, you can't do anything with the deed restrictions. Then he said, when I think she got closer and closer, hey, we're broke anyway. It has been like, it's like the DMV of the 90s when you walk in. No, 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 no. It really is. And I think that it should be pretty simple to understand what her version of the language of the law is. And I've read it. I honestly believe she's right. I think that the powers that be are and whatever the case is. So I hope we can get to the bottom of this and the community completely understands who's right, who's wrong, in a simple way like a 5-year-old could understand. Because this is still very confusing to a lot of people, and I think it's made that way because the government's involved.
Yeah.
That's why, man.
Totally. Yeah, everything's confusing, Brian, even to us. And so you've brought up profit many times, and I just want to be very clear. Like, I think the average age of our cars is like 2015 or something. We're not getting rich off
I know.
of
I saw
this.
you in a soccer mom van, dude.
Yeah,
Believe
yeah.
me, you
I
guys
got a
are chill.
minivan and an
I'm
old
not,
banged
I'm
up
not
Jeep.
questioning
Yeah.
that.
So we understand that
But you do have a lot of pressure on you by,
Well,
say,
Horton-
landowners and Horton.
Correct. They want, obviously, the most units they can get. It's a natural thing for a private entity to want to make profit off their land or the product they sell.
But they're getting away with murder
Well,
already.
Brian,
There's
just
no
hear
other
me out.
towns
Please,
that
just
slam
just-
like this.
Just please hear me
Go
out.
ahead.
You know, between Michelle, Ray, myself, Bethany, Catherine, we don't want these homes built if they don't need to be built. We wish we had the money to buy those deeds, and those deeds could be applied in the fourth round, and we can extend the benefits that those deeds bring to those individuals that live in those properties. We all want the same thing.
Yeah.
But we don't believe currently that mechanism will resolve our fair share, forgive me, affordable housing obligation. We don't believe it will. And Brian, we've been at the same meetings together, Kim Pollock's meeting.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, another good egg.
We all looked into this. There's if this was a mechanism to get out of it, if this was the lifeline, we would move heaven and earth to do. We were talking about potentially even going to a referendum to bond the money to buy these deeds to prevent the building. We don't want this, Brian. but
Yeah.
we don't
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
And look, nobody's against, like, I know, like, the one thread, Medford Lakes, all of a sudden it's like, hey, you against the poor coming here. Nobody, the north side, we are poor compared to the south side of town. And I can't speak for everybody in here, but growing up at that farm, we felt pretty poor for Medford standards, I can tell you that. So this ain't got nothing to do with the status or anything like that. One or two more questions.
Can I ask you for one more?
All
Your
right,
best
one
one.
more,
Give me your
broken
best
down
one.
to 29 parts.
What's that?
That's out of back to school. All right, so the representative from Horton, there's a guy that lives in our community?
Yes.
Okay, what is his deal? Like, I hear he's met with you guys, and he's met with a few squeaky wheels, like people that are talking a lot. What is he? Is he like the land hunter, like a head hunter, but he hunts for land here in Medford, and then comes to you guys? I imagine there's so many links missing in this whole 3 giant developments going in at one small spot, right? I mean, as far as just poor planning and everything else, it couldn't be any, as far as I'm concerned, worse. I don't know why some of this isn't broken off on the Samos property. The state guidelines, by the way, they want you near transportation. They want you near all these things Samos has. Can we move part of this over to there?
That's involved in litigation, and that has prior round obligations baked into that. That is, Samos is not a mechanism for the 4th round.
Right, I imagine that's too late, right? 'Cause
Ayerstown, Wawa, Route 70, in that neighborhood.
you know, it would if you moved some of this out, it would certainly make a lot of us feel better. And what is the name of the representative for Horton?
I don't believe I can divulge a resident's name up here, but
But he's a representative for Horton. Like, why isn't he meeting with everybody?
I believe Horton has met with.
He's been to these meetings and done a presentation or talked about anything? He's like a ghost to me, man,
Well,
to be honest.
They're not named redeveloper yet, right? There's still a redevelopment agreement underway.
Correct.
Before we name a redeveloper.
We all know, though, this is a done deal and they're building, okay? 1 year, guys, we're into this. Would you believe I don't have one letter in my mailbox? I'm 216 Church Road and 265 Medford Mount Holly Road. Everything is between both those properties. Not one letter, don't you think? I know you guys say, hey, the government's not involved. It's between the landowner and Horton, but it's clear the township is involved. And I don't know why letters can't be sent out saying, hey, this is what's proposed. I know it's not a done deal, Mike, but they're out there with the excavators, they're spending money. This is going to move forward one way or another. I've accepted that. I hope that she keeps fighting and she's right, but I think...
I just have one question. Sure. People believe this, people believe that. Are there consultants that can just come in here, we can pay them and explain everything to us in normal language like you talk?
Yes.
By the way, it always makes me
Yes,
laugh.
thank you, because
You're
it
welcome.
is.
You know, just someone who can speak normal English or with not legalese, because I'm lost too.
Yeah, thank you. And I don't know why you can't give this name out, because he's contributing, right? He's contributed to... Has he made any donations to anybody or any organizations here?
He put money into the field for the MYA, because he loves people, that's what he told me.
How much money?
I don't know how much those
How
things
come he
cost.
doesn't give the taxpayers some money? Kick it back, man. The MYA's been making out like a bandit. The $650,000, moms, don't be chasing me down. I don't have any problem with the kids playing. But we took $650,000 preservation fund. What part of preserving sounds like putting Friday night lights up in a field when we're broke to begin with?
What are you referring to?
$650,000 came out of the preservation fund last year for lights for a sports field, was my understanding.
The open space fund?
Yes.
Last year we applied for a grant.
It's $1 million for the land across from Johnson's, and then $650,000 went for lights out of the open space tax. And I remember asking you, like, use that money for the deed restrictions, and Mike, you said we can't. It can only be used for other stuff. I know they're doing pickleball courts with it. It wouldn't be out of control that Medford bought lights, but I don't understand how we went from the 90s of preserving farmlands to buying lights for a sporting field.
We didn't buy lights for the sporting field. We applied for a grant, and the MYA picked up the balance. There was a bond on that money that they're paying back. The taxpayers in this room, you included, and I, do not fund the light improvement at MYAA. That was a grant that we received, that we...
From what, though? A grant for?
Where did it come from? I think it was a county grant. I think every township in the county...
But it came from open preservation. So I know Eastham bought, they're doing pickleball courts with theirs, but they at least got that, whatever, Black Run Preserve done and a few other things. And I just think hopefully council in the future really looks at, and if it is coming out of an open space tax, especially the word preserving, Mike, I'm pretty sure I'm right about the county money that came down, that everybody gets the benefit from it. And then we look at it like, look, this is for one real thing, and it is literally to preserve land, you know? All right, one more thing and I'm done, for real.
No.
Your engineering firm that you love, Taylor Design.
You love them too.
No, I don't. I got a question for you guys. Why can't we have more than one engineering firm to choose from? People like Jason Kleiman, myself, Troy Haynes, we would have gone with somebody else. Up until 2015, you could choose from 2 or 3 engineering firms. The old mayor got rid of that, and you only have to go. You can't choose anybody else. You're stuck with and honestly, I never even met Scott, but his wife is something else, Michelle. And I think that it's not fair at this point.
I'm very sorry. I've given you 15 minutes.
Council consider, though, letting other engineering firms come into Medford.
You received 20 minutes the last meeting.
I know.
And
Listen,
15
next meeting I'm definitely coming out here.
Please do.
Fire, but I'll skip the following meeting.
All
right? I just
Thank you.
consider. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
the extra time. I appreciate it. I
Thank
think that this was an easier, open dialogue, at least for me to understand some of the stuff. All right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks again, Mary Ann. You really are.
Yes, she is.
I was going to say, Mr. Mayor, we can follow up on his request for that $650,000 to find out where that came from.
Thank you.
Hi, Kelly Svensson, 19 Chaucer Lane. Thank you, as always, for all that you do. It is appreciated, even if we have questions about things, but it is appreciated. One thing has come to at the development that we live in, Brookside, where Rick's is right behind us. And one thing that we have in our hand is the map from the NJDEP permit. It was submitted for the Melville Court development that was added into our development, and it shows the entire area is wetland behind the property. There's also a proof of a mapping that was done through the Land Resource Protection web map that supports that and shows it as well as there's indication on the map that this is a bog frog area, which is rank 1 and 2, which should indicate that they have to do something under the habitat-specific requirements. So we're curious, again, because, this was slotted for such a larger piece of property, and it's being brought from Lafferty to here, a significantly smaller. And then there is evidence at this point of the wetland. And I do understand we don't have the newest wetland, completely understand that. Yes, we have seen surveyors out there. No, we have not received any notification, any of the neighbors. Right. But we do know those things exist. So, of course, we want you to know that as well. And we'll just continue to do our homework and due diligence to make sure, hopefully, we're helping ourselves with that.
Do please.
And in regard to the wetlands, what's interesting is they significantly, as you know, have shortened that buffer between. But it doesn't make sense at all for these 2 pieces of documentation through NJDEP, why that would happen when obviously if I can see it, they can see it, and it's there. So there's question within that. Secondly, at the last meeting, it was brought to our attention, I had asked the question, of who would own the rental properties, because that came as a surprise as well. And it was said that it would be nonprofit. And quite frankly, first, there's a concern in regard to nonprofit because it's definitely a different vetting system than if an individual owned the property, and doesn't always lend well to looking out for the town. My biggest concern, though, is with nonprofit. That's then tax exempt. So then who is absorbing, if nonprofit is purchasing those buildings? Now we're not going to receive tax money, but if an individual owned it, we would. So is that being addressed? Are we looking at that? And then that kind of, I know, threefold.
Sorry, I'm writing them down.
I know you had talked about the increase of the water and the sewer, and of course we need to keep up with the water treatment plants. But as we put in more properties, won't that lead to even more, maybe not necessarily issues, but things that we will have to do to maintain that, and then the continual increase? So it feels like we may be starting to fall down a little bit of a slope there. So that's kind of my three things. Hopefully I was short and to the point.
Do you want to tackle any?
I was going to talk water, but if you wanted to go with the ones prior.
I can touch the affordable housing rentals, and please, if I state anything wrong, jump right in. The way I understand it is that the government has said that there needs to be a pilot program for the affordable housing. We are not doing pilot programs for any market rate house. I don't know how many times I can say it. I'm going to keep saying it. We're not doing it. I don't care what previous councils did. I don't care what previous groups did. This group is not doing it. We have no choice to have pilots for the affordable housing. So you are correct. The taxes will be less. Period. End of story. It's all part of the lovely present that New Jersey has given us.
And then we just absorb it. Okay.
That's unfortunately part of the.
But it's, so the state is saying it has to be rental and it has to be owned by nonprofit?
They give us a bunch of different choices on what we can build and how we can do it. With different things, we get bonus credits. We didn't have to build quite as many. So rentals gave us
Family rentals gave us bonus credits.
So instead of 200 houses, because of the bonus credits, that one counted as 1.5 versus just 1. So that we would have to build less. And we already hate this 4-to-1 ratio that everyone gets. Could you imagine if we didn't use those bonus credits? We would have had, for every 0.5, put them together, there's another 4 houses.
Why do we have to, maybe we should tell people this. I mean, I get to do this myself. Did you know that?
No.
No, we need to make this available to the public.
Make what?
All
the different pieces.
Because I don't think, all the different pieces involved, I don't think people.
Well, in the family rental, my understanding is then that under the affordable brings it down to very low income by putting in family. So we now have changed the dynamics.
There's a tier. There's tiers.
Correct.
And I don't know what the actual verbiage is, but the total income for a family in an affordable situation, in theory, would be lower because there's more people off that one income or that one net income. So I just want to be fair to the folks. I mean, if you have a low income and a high family count and you're eligible for that family unit, that's what we're doing. We're providing housing to those individuals.
It's going to be for moderate income, very low, and low income.
Right.
You have to, like you said, there's a tier. They have to provide for each tier in accordance with the framework.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There are moderate, low, and very low income. Those are the 3 tiers. And the affordable units have to satisfy the percentage breakdown for each of those 3 tiers.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of misconceptions because everybody thinks that there's just one low tier, and that's not the case.
No, not
and
at
that's
all.
important to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
I believe that's on our website.
Yeah, the breakdown of the ratios for the it's like, number of people per unit, right?
Yes, there's that. There's number of people per unit, number of beds per unit.
Right.
I'm sorry. It's that it's a breakdown by number of number of rooms, number of people. Certain number of bedrooms have to be moderate, certain number of bedrooms have to be low, certain number of bedrooms have to be very low.
Right.
It's all on the table that is in our approved plan, and I believe it's also included in each of the 3 redevelopment plans as well.
Right.
So who will govern the nonprofit? The homeowners association? Like who?
We have what's Triad? What's the?
It's Triad is essentially it's a corporation that monitors our affordable units in the township, and they will regulate it.
So when I say monitor, who's going to, if you're saying this unit is for a family of 4, who's going to ensure that there's not suddenly 16?
It should be Triad, but you can't limit to say only a family of 4 if there happens to be a baby.
I'm just throwing a number.
Yeah.
I'm not being general with a number. I'm just curious who's going to ensure that we don't suddenly have
There's an
massive
application
amount of
process.
people, and so who governs that?
Triad, there's an application process.
Right, but it's still in our town. I mean, it's still like, well, the homeowners association, it's still.
You're talking about enforcement, right? How do you
Right,
enforce
yeah.
that? What's the application process is actually going in?
And that's what I'm saying. That was just my concern that suddenly, like I said, it kind of changed. It went to rental and finding out it's nonprofit. It definitely puts more concern in this. But again, my biggest thing is knowing that this wetland exists. And I don't know what protocol is, like if you wanted these pieces of paper, but I want you to know that just because if it suddenly comes back with something different, it would be interesting, and I would question it.
During, I do want to speak to the water rate, but during the presentation by Taylor Design, the current wetland delineations were depicted in the concept plan. And we will, and Chris Knoll through ERI had mentioned that they are going to go through the due diligence period for environmentals, wetlands. These will all happen before planning board approval is received.
Correct.
Correct. So this is the time where these things are being delineated right now. I should say there will be a time shortly that all these things will be delineated. So the ditch in Rick's Auto Body, right? We originally thought it was going to be a 50-foot each side buffer. Now we're projecting 100 foot and 150 each side, right? So, and then obviously, any endangered species that you had mentioned, these will all be looked into. What's the archaeological component if they find?
If you find I'm sorry. If there is a historic archaeological find, then there has to be another study of how you're going to preserve and not impact it. For example, if you find that there's a grave site on the property, there's a whole another skew of regulations that you have to jump through in order to develop. I haven't heard any news that this has any such historic archaeological grave sites on the property. There may be. Who knows what happened 300 years ago?
When we built the 2 schools, we found Native American tools, and we had to put off the building for a while it was studied. And then the school district had to pay to put the tools up in a museum in Trenton. It was really interesting.
It's an interesting process.
And you would never know they were tools. They just they look like sticks. So that could happen.
Yeah.
And my point's kind of just so this information is
Totally.
out to you all.
Yeah.
That
Thank
being
you.
my point.
And just on the water rate, so if nothing were to ever happen with more housing in Medford, our utility needs this rate increase.
Oh,
But we will be receiving additional ratepayers to this utility. All these new homes will be on water and sewer, so they will be paying their new rate as soon as they come online. So
but they'll also be using it.
Well, yeah,
and then
but
there'll also
with
be
the new
people
rate,
using
it's
it
going to
that
be offset.
won't be. So
Right. But we have capacity. So ERI claims we have capacity, and we need to make this adjustment to support the utility.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Beth Clement. I live at 34 Chaucer Lane, and I have a
non-speeding, non-affordable housing concern I want to bring up. As you may know, DHS has dedicated $39 billion to purchase warehouses throughout this country. Their goal is to convert these structures into large detention centers for immigrants. And we also know that in Roxbury, New Jersey, DHS purchased a warehouse for just this purpose. This was done despite a resolution from the town council rejecting carceral conversion, as well as a huge protest from the community. When I look at Medford and surrounding communities, we do have one warehouse for sale in Medford. I want to ensure that there is no possibility that this structure is purchased by DHS for conversion to a detention center. In order to do that, zoning laws must be strengthened to prevent the possibility of housing people in industrial zones. Warehouses have been constructed for industrial use and rarely have the infrastructure to accommodate housing large groups of people. They lack public health, water, sewer, heating, cooling, and life safety infrastructure for the proposed scale of housing. Moreover, any conversion should trigger review of state and federal laws in regards to environmental impacts. As my representatives, I would hope you would support the values and laws of our country, those that treat individuals as fairly and free to live without fear. Therefore, I would expect you to be against the wholesale detention of people without due process in unsafe spaces run with no outside inspection or supervision. I request a resolution from this town council that warehouse conversion is not welcome in our community. I want commercial realtors to know that the sale of warehouses to DHS are not welcome in our community. I want preemptive zoning precedents created that state our laws clearly. There should be a formal zoning interpretation made so that carceral detention in district is distinct from warehouse storage or administrative use. We should require that anything used for this purpose be classified as correctional and regulated by different zoning requirements. Lastly, Citizens Bank is helping to fund the creation of a lot of ICE detention centers, and I would ask that if our township is banking with Citizens Bank, that there is discussion in potentially changing that. Thank you.
Can we do that? Can we do what Mrs. Clement asked?
Yeah, so we definitely will seek counsel. I thank you very much.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you. You took the time, you stayed here all this time, thank you.
I'd like to enjoy a different topic.
Yeah. True.
I'm just going to take one quick note.
No, I'm sorry.
We'll definitely speak to our attorney.
Yeah,
Right,
please.
and passing those resolutions proactively in the zoning matters ahead of time, and I think there's even more, and I don't want to conflate the two, but even the use of warehouse and the effects of our environmentals, our aquifers and things of that nature. These are all things we can get in front of, so I do thank you for bringing these to our attention.
Because just never thought of it.
I didn't realize we even had a warehouse for sale, but it's over by Blackley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mayor. Ms. Clement, just in response, just as a follow-up, because I forget where I had been at, but I was at a meeting where that warehouse unit was identified to me, and individuals, residents expressed concern similar to what you expressed this evening. I did speak with our county representatives, and I did speak with legal counsel as well, just to kind of gauge how best we can go forward. And we'll continue to talk to legal counsel, as the mayor said, about a resolution. But one of the things that came back to us, or came back to me, I should say, rather, after Roxbury, is that the federal government has the right to circumvent even our local zoning laws, unfortunately. So, even if being preemptive and putting things in place, if the federal government comes in and purchases that property, they will have the right to circumvent our zoning laws. Same with if a private owner comes in and opts to rent that warehouse space to the federal government. As a renter, the federal government can still preempt and override our zoning laws. So I just wanted to kind of put that word of caution out, because it is something that had been brought to my attention, and I did reach out initially to get some information about it, but.
And Ray, this would be the federal government?
Federal government,
so
yes.
What would be the likelihood they would even?
I mean, I think we should still be looking to taking the steps to pursue it, but yeah.
Thanks for the.
We can do a mock up there.
Right.
Make it hard for them.
Okay, Anyone else? Ma'am?
Hello, Shannon Igo at 2 Harper Ferry Court. So I also wanted to talk about the wetlands. There's a map on the township website from Environmental Resources from November of 2021, and it shows wetlands on all 3 of the sites that we are slated to develop. And on the Kirby's Mill site, there's a floodplain in the southern part of the parcel. So I just wanted to ask, I know that they're doing like investigations into like the extent of the wetlands, if there's any endangered species, the extent of floodplains that might be on there. But what, if it comes back that they can't build as many units on that site, what are the obligations that we have as a town to the builder? If they say, I know the minimum is for the affordable housing sites, but if it comes back that they can't build as many market rate units, and so then it's not profitable for them to do that, and they can't build on this land anymore, do we have to give them another site to look at? Or can we then say, you know, this is only 40 affordable housing units, so can we look into building just those units?
So one of the great ways that they wrote our, not agreement, plan, I'm learning to use these words correctly, the way they wrote our plan was that the affordable houses had first dibs on the land, and then everything else thereafter. What a adjacent New Jersey town was able to do was able to go back to the court and say, look, this multi-million-dollar company wasn't able to build here.
Mm-hmm.
So who could? And they got forgiveness on their numbers. I'm praying that's the route we're able to take. So that we do have a couple of options if the land is not good. Pray
And
for.
that does happen fairly often. It does.
So they got forgiveness on the affordable housing numbers?
And no affordable housing means no market rate houses.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
That was my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, would you like to speak? Was there anyone else that would like to speak after this gentleman? No, it's okay, no. Okay, if you just come up front. I just don't want to close public comment. Okay.
I want to thank you guys for everything you do, and I appreciate all your patience, because I know it's been a long, fresh new start for a lot of you guys, because a couple of you guys are brand new. I appreciate it, and I apologize for anything in the past and anything going forward.
Your name, I'm sorry, sir.
Eric Svensson, 19 Chaucer. I also like to thank the patient officer in the back, and you should have enjoyed all your friends coming. That was a great presentation. I'm glad we came for that, too. In regard to Rick's auto body, I don't know too much about the other 2. Was there any formal submittal of what the Lafferty property was, or is it just denoted of how many houses were going there? Because I was a little confused when I looked at the Lafferty property. It looked like it was actually smaller than Rick's auto body, but I don't know. It might have been a different property, because I know they own a bunch.
Lafferty was a larger land parcel. It had more acreage, but the unit counts were the same.
Okay.
So when we lost the ability to use Lafferty in the 4th round and Rick's became available, we moved those units to
Okay.
Rick's. Yeah.
But you didn't have a formal plan, you just had an idea of how many units were going on?
Up until the redevelopment plans that were read into via ordinance recently, everything that was discussed was all concept plans.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
and-
wanted to take a look
yeah.
at that if it actually existed,
Yeah.
to see how that was.
And to our previous comments, I would even say that what we've already agreed upon is in theory a concept pending all the environmentals that need to take place.
And all 3 of these are essentially concepts?
All these fall under that same approved conceptual plan, and until all these studies come back, we really can't get the zoning in until those are.
Okay, just a question for my wife. It's the bog turtle, and it's a federally protected, so it's a class 5. Meaning it's...
I'm going to cross out frog and write turtle.
Thank you.
They do get us on whether it's a nesting area or a walking through area?
That's what the DEP permit
Yeah.
is. So it could be nothing. So if anybody sees an orange turtle, take a picture of it. So if you do see any wildlife, if you go to NJ Fish and Wildlife, reporting wildlife sightings, there's a wildlife tracker. You click on that, send them the picture and fill it out where you saw it. So,
Chief, could we put that on our website? That
The
link?
NJ Wildlife link?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Mhm.
May as well make it more accessible to everybody.
yeah, so it's really easy to find. It just says NJDEP reporting, Fish and Wildlife reporting sightings. That's helpful. In regard to the number of units, I do think you guys are very heavy with the number of market rate homes. My calculation is there's 100 more units than are being market rate homes that are being allotted for the contractor to build above and beyond the units that are being installed. Now, my understanding is it's based on each individual unit, not the credit rate. So it doesn't matter if that was 1.3 or 0.75. If you're building one unit, he gets 4 more to build. Now, I do know that other communities have been able to get the contractor to still build on a site with maybe only building 3.5 homes per one unit. And then the last thing, in regard to all that, I don't know if there was an ordinance actually written for each individual one or for overall in Phase 4? Individuals. Is that something that I can read, or is it accessible to everybody? I would like to.
Sure. I know they're on the website, but you can request a copy, but it's easily accessible on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice to kind of have that. I don't know if there's those ordinance, because I know it's very difficult to find where the affordable housing is in the Medford website. Strategically placed hidden away.
I think it's the first tab at the top.
I will check right this second.
Okay.
There we go.
We moved it to the top.
You moved it to the top. Okay.
I don't want to take up your time, but I do want to, and we'll pause it. I do want to speak to the number of market rate units that are present on the plans. If you think 10 years ago when Flying W was being proposed, there was X number of market rate units that were available or planned to be built then, due to certain delays, when they finally get around to doing that, there's been increased wetlands buffers, and we need to potentially have an amendment to that plan to reduce the number of market rate homes while maintaining the affordable homes. So I hate to use these words, but what we're all discussing is potentially the worst case scenario.
Okay.
And all these different environmentals will lower the amount of market rate homes that are being built. But to Deputy Mayor Voorhees' point, when the redevelopment plan was put in place, we forced the future developer to build the required affordables first, basically.
Right.
Yeah, they can't.
But you don't have to let them build more market rate homes in Phase 4 because they didn't build it in Phase 3.
Not at all.
And I heard it's based on each individual development. So it's not like you can put more in one and less in the other, unless that's how you coordinate. Okay.
I know that the numbers for Rick's are skewed disproportionately compared to the other two sites. And that's mainly because they took what was going to go at Lafferty and just moved those same numbers over to Rick's.
Okay.
That's because the 80-20 split is definitely off there by, I believe it's like 92 or 93.
I think it's 17% instead of 20%.
Yeah, so.
And I think there's actually, Challenger, I think there's actually more of a discrepancy. Oh, well, Kirby's is the only one that's dead on for some reason. In regard to all that, I hope we can do our due diligence to make these plans work for us, because I understand we essentially have no choice from the state. Moving forward in Phase 5, I'm not going to be able to help you now, but I'd love to start helping you in the fall, if that's a possibility.
Say that last part again?
Phase 5, when you're working on Phase 5, if you need help.
So Councilman Cox and I, with the mayor's blessing, already are on an affordable housing subcommittee, and we're looking at anything from ADUs to other lands. We're looking at everything. I think I can talk for Councilman Cox when I say to you, our goal really is 0 for Route 5. It really is. That is not a promise that it'll be 0. It is a goal. between deeds, between anything else we can come up with, between using open land correctly, buying it up. If it's not available to be purchased, you can't build on it. If there's not enough sewer, you can't put an affordable house there. So there are a lot of things in our toolbox, and our group is looking at it. And just last week I put it out that we're going to look at ADUs, not tons on houses, but ones attached. Our group is going to look at that. So all the different ways that Medford can help Medford beat these numbers.
That'd be great. All we're asking is to reduce the number of market rate homes.
I think I said it at one other meeting. If they had looked at this 6 to 8 years ago, when they knew it was coming, some might make the argument of 4 years ago, but if they had looked at it then, knowing it's coming, I think we'd have different answers right now.
Right.
This group is looking at it. This group is 100% aware that round 5 is coming. And I think I can speak for all of us that none of us want to be doing this. And frankly, I don't want my name besmirched in 8 years. Like, why didn't that Michelle Voorhees girl do her homework? We're doing our homework. We hope to have a very different outcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Hope it does.
Thank you. Thank you. Sir?
Oh, you're
Yes.
him. Hello.
I don't know if you introduce myself, I can just read them.
Yeah, would you just like to introduce yourself at the microphone?
I'm going to keep it short.
Yeah.
It's pretty self-explanatory. The background. Good evening, everybody. Justin Rumble, 604 Haynes Run. And this is just a model resolution that I brought to the attention of the council a couple months ago. Some area volunteers I know and NRA members asked me to speak on this tonight. It's a resolution that I think 18 towns in New Jersey passed since last June. It's pertaining to a refund for the municipal portion of the application fee for people who want to apply for a concealed carry permit. I'll just read the resolution. Medford Lakes actually passed this a little while back as well. It's the closest town to us. Might be the only town in Burlington County so far. It just reads a resolution authorizing refund of municipal portion of handgun carry permit fee upon submission of receipt. Whereas pursuant to NJSA 2C 584, applicants for permits to carry a handgun are required to pay an application fee in the amount of $200, of which $150 is paid to the municipality and $50 is paid directly to the superintendent of the state police. And whereas the Township of Medford recognizes that the statutory fee structure imposes financial burdens on applicants and wishes to ease that burden for residents by offering refunds of the Township of Medford's portion of the application fee. And whereas the Township of Medford recognizes that the United States Supreme Court has long held that taxes on fundamental rights are unconstitutional, and that the statutory fee prescribed by NJSA 2C 58-4 is in excess of a mere processing fee and is therefore a tax on a core constitutional right. And whereas the Township of Medford has determined that it is in the public interest to establish an administrative process for refunding the $150 municipal portion of the application fee upon appropriate documentation. Therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Township of Medford and County of Burlington, State of New Jersey as follows. Number one, any applicant who has paid the $150 municipal application fee for a handgun carry permit on or after date of your choosing, and who submits a valid receipt showing payment, may apply to the Township of Medford's Chief Financial Officer for a refund of $150, representing the portion of the statutory fee paid to the Township of Medford under NJSA 2C 58-4. Number two, refunds shall be issued upon the applicant's submission to the CFO of A, proof of payment, and B, confirmation that the application was processed through the Township of Medford. 3, this refund policy applies only to the municipal portion of the fee and does not apply to any amounts remitted by the applicant directly to the state of New Jersey or other agencies. Refund shall be available only for payments made on or after date of your choosing. Number 4, that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. And 5, the Township of Medford CFO is hereby authorized to administer this refund program and to require any reasonable documentation necessary to confirm eligibility. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be made available to the public and posted on the Township of Medford's website for informational purposes. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else for public comment? Okay, seeing none, motion to close.
Motion?
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. That will be the conclusion of our public comment section. We'll now move to the manager's report.
So we're going to start this evening with the budget presentation. We'll have our CFO, Lindsay Gentili, present our 2026 budget.
Perfect. I'll ask council to join me down, and then we'll get set up.
We'll put it on the township website.
I have extras tonight. Thank you. That's sweet of you. Thank you
Certainly.
so much. Of course. I appreciate it. Perfect.
No, you're good. Good. Start. Okay. Certainly, yeah, wherever you can see.
Halfway through, we'll move chairs. There you go.
Okay.
All right, good evening. My name is Lindsay Gentili. I'm the Township CFO, and tonight I'm going to walk you through the proposed 2026 municipal budget. So the primary goal of the municipal budget is to sustain the level of municipal services that residents expect and regularly rely upon. This is police, fire, EMS, public works, zoning, construction, you name it. Our job is to fiscally manage the township's operations and plan for long-term needs, such as capital improvements, for infrastructure, replacement vehicles, etc. Our job is to also be conscientious of the local tax rate and explore revenue-generating activities to try to reduce the burden on the local purpose tax. Municipal budgets are a town's annual spending plan. It consists of revenues, expenditures, debt service, and capital improvements. Our annual budget also includes the regular and capital budgets for the water and sewer utility, as well as the township open space. The New Jersey Department of Community Affairs, Division of Local Government Service, provides all towns with a municipal budget document. Is there feedback? I don't know if I'm too close or far enough. And that template document contains formulas that pertain to the levy cap, appropriations cap, reserve for uncollected taxes, etc. Every third year, our budget is under state review. I'm not sure if it's... Was it that? So sorry. Every third year, the budget is under state review by DCA. The township's budget fiscal year coincides with the calendar year. The budget process begins in the preceding fall of the prior year, with the CFO providing documentation to the township department heads containing year-to-date spending and 5 years' worth of data. In November, the township manager and I sit with each department head and we go through line by line of their requests. The annual financial statement of the prior year's activity is issued in early March, and that determines how much surplus we have to use potentially in the budget. At this time, the state also confirms what state aid is available to us. For the revenue component of the budget, it's made up of these primary sources, which is surplus balance, so how much is left from prior year's budgets, anticipated revenues from fees, shared service agreements, etc., state aid, which has been held at $2 million for the past few years, grant funds that are added to the budget throughout the year, and property taxes, which this year makes up 64% of the revenue. The annual financial statement verifies, like I said earlier, how much surplus we have that we could use as a revenue source. So a little deeper dive into surplus usage. In 2024, we started with $3.6 million in surplus. We used $3.2 as a revenue in the 24 budget, leaving $354,000 in reserve. In 2025, we started with $1.6 million in surplus, which was almost a $2 million decrease. We used $1.3 as revenue in the last year's budget, leaving the same amount of surplus reserve as in 2024. This year, we started with $2.5 million, almost $1 million increase in surplus, which is a positive. We're proposing using $2.1 million in surplus, leaving $450,000 in surplus reserve, which I know is nothing to bat our eyes at, but it's making a conscious effort, and it's $100,000 more than we've left in reserve the last 2 years. For the expense component of the budget, each department has a salary and wage line, which includes overtime, and an other expenses line. This is for goods, services to run their department. There's also budget sheets for insurance. This is health insurance, workers' comp, general liability, utility costs, electric, natural gas, gasoline, statutory costs, so Social Security, the pension, etc. Capital improvement and debt service is also part of the budget. There are 2 statutory budget controls given by the state. I'll start with the tax levy cap. This is a hard cap of 2% that applies to taxes raised for regular expenses. The only exclusions to this is what the state allows us to put outside the cap. So for example, we were hit with a 17% health insurance increase this year for township staff and retiree health insurance. The state allows me to take what the cost of this year's health insurance is, what the cost of last year's was, and I can put the difference outside the cap. The only other exceptions are if our pension costs went up, I can put that outside the cap. Capital improvement, debt service, it's very stringent. The only thing that can increase your levy cap is if you have new ratables or if you have a levy cap bank. The levy cap bank, if it's not used, it expires after 3 years, and unfortunately the township has no levy cap bank accessible to us this year. The other budgetary control from the state is a 2.5% appropriations cap. This limits our spending by 2.5% unless we pass an ordinance, which we did in the beginning of this year, called the COLA ordinance, and that allows us to raise the appropriations cap to 3.5%. There's also exceptions for this. The state tries to encourage shared service agreements, so that's allowed to be outside the appropriations cap. They also allow capital improvements and debt service to be outside the cap, mainly because it's obligatory and there's no way around not making those payments. Same with reserve for uncollected taxes. It's a formulaic increase that we have to make sure we budget for. This can also only be increased with new ratables, or if we have an appropriations cap bank, which after this year's budget, we'll have $626,000 in appropriations cap bank. So what was our first initial look at the budget? The 2026 budget process, like I have said, began with an increase in available surplus. Like I said, we ended the year and we had $2.6 million in surplus. We are proposing using $2.1 in this budget. It's $800,000 more than we used in last year's budget, but it leaves a surplus reserve of $100,000 more than what was left at the end of last year. For the primary revenue side changes, last year we received $400,000 for the sale of a liquor license. Unfortunately, we don't have that available to us this year, so that's working against us. We are seeing a $127,000 decrease in shared service revenue as the schools are moving from school resource officers to Class 3 officers, so those bring in less revenue to the town. We are also experiencing a $200,000 decrease in pilot revenue due to an expired agreement with Medford Lees. Good? Certainly. Sure. No, that's fine. I'd rather check. As far as the expense side, what were things that were just known to us right off the get-go? Every 12 years, there is a 27th pay day, and that is just how the calendar has fallen this year. So we have to budget for an additional payroll that we have not had to in the last 12 years. Of course, one payroll is over $200,000. We had an increase, like I've said earlier, of 17% for health insurance. So there's a $400,000 increase in retiree health care, $250,000 increase in active employee health care, $141,000 increase in statutory costs. This is due to the pension going up for police and fire, and then $25,000 for FICA. That's the Social Security associated with that 27th pay. $62,000 increase for the reserve for uncollected taxes. This is a formulaic increase. I'll get into it a little later, but basically we have to budget to be able to pay for taxes that may not be collected. It's required, no way around it. $250,000 increase for solid waste. That is due to a $100,000 increase in the Republic Service trash contract for this year, and a $150,000 increase due to leaf disposal. Other factors affecting the expenses. Sorry, I know it's me, but I don't know. The gross salaries are up 4%. That is inclusive of the 27th pay. That's police contracts, fire and EMS contracts, public works contracts, things that are already set in stone. Other expenses are up 9%, and that has a lot to do with trash services, recycling, etc. So what actions did we take to fill the budget gap? Revenue gains are attributed to higher permit fee volume, increased tax interest costs, and strengthened EMS billing collections. We've reduced the proposed increase in the solid waste budget by $50,000 through changing the public work yard hours and what type of materials that we're going to accept at the yard. We've already done that. We've instituted a hiring freeze for police, fire, public works, and town hall departments for any unfilled positions as well as any anticipated retirements. We've eliminated the direct funding of police vehicles and transferred that expense to capital improvement fund. So to try to be fiscally responsible, we wanted to build those purchases into the budget instead of borrowing for it, but naturally $150,000 was something that we did have to push to capital improvement fund this year to try to keep the burden down. We used one non-reoccurring revenue source. That's the sale of 39 Allen Avenue. That resolution will be read later tonight. The sale is for $250,000 for that building. We're proposing a modest increase in the tax rate from 0.519 to 0.550. That's a 3.2 cent increase per $100 of assessed value. So a little bit about the anticipated revenues built into this budget. Like I said earlier, property taxes make up 64% of our revenue. We have surplus. This is money saved from prior year's budgets. We have state aid we received from the state of New Jersey. This has been held the same dollar amount for the last 3 years. No increase, no decrease from the state. Licenses, fees, permits. This makes up 6% of the budget. This is liquor licenses, interest on investments, court fees, ticket fees, alarm fees, tower rental, cable TV fees, etc. EMS billing income, $875,000, and receipts from delinquent taxes. This is when we collect past due taxes in this year. Construction fees, we're anticipating $590,000. This is renovations or new builds that generate fees, so any permit that's pulled in the construction office. Pilot payments, agreements that have already been made in the past, we're anticipating $530,000 of revenue from those agreements. Shared services, this is when other towns or entities pay us to share our services. We currently have that with EMS, the assessor's office, and school resource officers. The miscellaneous category is made up of MYAA debt reimbursement, general capital surplus, utility fund balance, and the sale of municipal property. And then there's grants. This is state and federal funds that help support township projects. This is a graphic of that. So the navy blue is the property taxes, showing the 64%. It takes you around the circle, just a breakdown, a visual of the last two slides. Comfortable moving on? Okay. This next slide is the pilot revenue breakdown. So it just shows each agreement that we have that's active, the agreement dates, and then how much received in 25 and how much I'm anticipating in budgeting to receive in 2026. Autumn Park, $313,000. Hartford Square, $80,000. The Willows at Medford, $39,000. Creekside, $18,000. Volunteers of America, $27,000. The Willows at Hartford Road, $32,000. Medford Senior Housing on Jones Road, $17,000. And again, this will be on the website if I'm moving a little too quickly. I just am trying to be mindful of time. So this is now the flip side. We just covered revenue. This is expense, an explanation of how the money is spent. 30% of the budget is on salaries and wages. We have 130 full and part-time employees. This does not include the water and sewer department. 38% of the budget is for other expenses: insurance, solid waste collection and disposal, energy and utilities. 13% of the budget is for the capital improvement fund, as well as debt service to help pay for prior projects. 10% is for statutory costs, FICA, pension, etc. 5% is for the reserve for uncollected taxes. That's a state formula. We have to budget $1.2 million because the township bears the burden of not collecting 100% of the taxes. There's no way around this. And 3% of the budget is for grant fund expenditures, shared service agreements, etc. This next slide is just a visual of what I just covered. Starting with the navy blue, that's the police department, insurance, capital improvement, sanitation in brown, fire and EMS in red, public works is in black, the reserve for uncollected taxes, utilities to run the town, street lights, traffic lights, you name it, is in orange. The cost to run town hall is in gray, and then grants and shared service agreements. Comfortable moving on? Great. So just to go over some staffing levels, just to bring it to attention. In Town Hall, we have 18 full-time employees, 5 part-time. This covers the assessor's office, collector, finance, clerk, manager, planning and zoning, and construction. Public Works and Utilities, we have 25 full-time employees. This is administration, fleet, streets and roads, buildings and grounds. Utilities Division has 7 full-time employees. For Police and Municipal Court, 41 full-time employees, 12 part-time. 36 sworn officers, 4 SLEO 3s, 5 part-time crossing guards, 4 full-time and 2 part-time admin staff to run those departments. Fire and EMS, 17 full-time, 6 part-time, 7 per diem. For fire, we have 10 full-time and 82 volunteers. EMS, 7 full-time, 6 part-time, 7 per diem, and 20 volunteer EMS. So now to get into capital. So there's a capital program each year for the general fund and a capital program for utilities. This is the general fund. We are budgeting $375,000 for a new street sweeper to comply with state stormwater mandate. I'll cover that in a little later. $325,000 for a new jet vac truck to comply with the state stormwater mandate. This is half of the cost. The other half is in the utility department because it will have split use. $1.2 million for the 2026 road improvement program. So each year the engineer gives us a list of roads and it's ranked in priority of what needs to be done. $800,000 for the fire and EMS department. This covers their equipment, air packs and protective equipment that are at the end of their useful life that need to be replaced. $98,000 for public works equipment. This covers a forklift and 2 mowers. $270,000 for police equipment. It covers all new handguns, 2 radar units, 2 police vehicles completely upfitted, ready for the road, lights, sirens, you name it, and an HVAC replacement. $25,000 for a town hall computer hardware server replacement, something that's behind the scenes we don't always see, but does need to be replaced. For utilities, $400,000 for sewer treatment plant upgrades, the pumps, grinders, and bearings to run the plant. $650,000 for sewer main relining and replacement. $1.5 million to rehab wells number 3 and number 6. $150,000 for improvements to other wells. $1.2 million for water main upgrades and replacements. For those of you who have come to council and made it aware, we are addressing your concerns. $500,000 for water meter replacements. This is a multi-year project the meters have a battery that does expire, so we have to actively replace the water meters throughout town. $325,000, that's the other half of the jet vac truck that I spoke of earlier, and $100,000 for road resurfacing. This is when we pave the road after water main upgrades are done. So you heard me talk about the street sweeper and the jet vac truck. This is due to an unfunded state mandate. So basically, municipal stormwater management permit is what it's called. And in 2023, the state eliminated the category that Medford belonged in, which was Tier B permit, and they moved Medford to a Tier A. Tier A treats Medford stormwater management as if we were a city or densely populated area. Of course, we're neither, but we do have to comply with their requirements. This includes periodic street sweeping, digital mapping of all stormwater facilities, and increased maintenance of the same. So the township must purchase the street sweeper to comply, the combination jet vac truck, and have our stormwater completely mapped digitally, and the state naturally only gave us $25,000 to take care of that. So it's unfunded, and we are required to take care of the rest. A little bit about trust funds and self-liquidating accounts. So we have a utility operating self-liquidating fund. Current balance is $3.3 million. A utility is considered self-liquidating if the cash receipts, meaning the fees, rents, and the charges collected, cover all of the utility operating expense for the year to run that utility, including the debt service payments. So, for example, ours is a water and sewer system. Medford residents pay for what they use. This then funds the operation of the treatment plant. This covers the staff, the electricity to run the plant, the lab testing, the chemicals to treat the plant, and any infrastructure improvements, etc. For the Open Space Trust Fund, the tax rate is 3 cents, and the current balance is $1.7 million. Under New Jersey state guidelines, these funds are very strictly prohibited. They can only be used for land preservation, recreation and park development, farmland preservation, historic preservation, and Blue Acres. It's flood protection for your town. Affordable Housing Trust Fund, the current balance is only $293,000. The use of these funds is strictly governed by the New Jersey Fair Housing Act with oversight from DCA. The primary uses for these funds are housing production and preservation, affordability assistance, and administration and professional costs to manage the program. So unfortunately, these are the only uses permitted for these funds that I've listed. So now your tax bill explained. Your tax bill is comprised of 4 components. It's the county taxes, which is county government, county open space, county library, Lenape Regional School District, Medford Township School District, and then the township's government and open space. So we collect the taxes for all of these entities, and then it is paid out quarterly from my office to these other entities in full. 1 penny on the municipal tax rate computes to $316,000. The proposed tax rate tonight from 0.519 to 0.550, like I said earlier, was a 3.2 cent tax increase. The average home in Medford is assessed at $331,141. The proposed tax rate tonight would bring an estimated increase of $103.23 to the average homeowner on an annual basis, or $25.81 per quarter. A little about school districts and county taxation. The Medford Township Tax Collector's Office, like I said, collects all monies on behalf of the Board of Ed, Lenape, the county, county library, county open space. We remit 100% owed to them on a quarterly basis. The township must budget almost $1.3 million, like I said earlier, in reserve for uncollected taxes. We bear the sole risk for all the other taxing agencies of any unpaid tax. The township and all taxing agencies bear the cost of exempt properties. This is government-owned land, churches, nonprofits, total disabled vets, etc. The state aid to municipalities has been relatively flat since Governor Christie, while the state has also cut aid to the school districts in Medford as well. This is the state aid trends for Lenape Regional for the past 8 years. So as you can see, in 2019, Lenape received $28 million in funding from the state. This year they received $19 million, even though their cost of running the schools has certainly not gone down by any means in the last 8 years. Medford Schools, same story. In the last 8 years, this is their state aid trends. In 2019, they received $4.6 million. This year, they received $4.9. Their costs have gone up significantly in the last 8 years. School districts and county taxation. Very rarely is there rollback taxes when a property is no longer being farmed. The funds are then split between the township and the county. Similarly, same with added and omitted taxes. These are split between the township and the county for the partial year they're assessed. This would be if a new home was built midway through the year, an addition was put on a home, etc. Pilot agreements have formulas for computation, and this is split between the township and the county as well. For pilots, all taxing entities benefit from increased land taxes. Land taxes also increase when properties are subdivided. A little bit about 2025's tax collection. So the tax collector for Medford, the levy amount was $118 million. The collection rate was incredible, 99.25%. Sorry, I don't know, it's so bad, sorry. The township away? Can you still hear me? Okay. Township solely bears the tax deficit. So as you can see on the right-hand side, the county taxes over $14 million. They got 100% of what was owed to them. County library, county open space, Lenape Regional received $26 million. Medford Schools, $55 million. And township and open space only collected 95.5% of what we needed. And that's for 25. This is a breakdown of the taxing agencies. It shows 24 rate, 25 rate, and the estimated rate for 2026. The Burlington County rate has not been announced yet, the Board of Ed or Lenape's, and this is just an estimate based on the last 8 years, the trajectory of where their rate may be for 26. And this is just a breakdown to show you the 4 different entities that we collect on behalf of. So this is a 3-year tax comparison. So what this basically does is if the average home is assessed at $331,000, the portion of your taxes that come to Medford Township is $1,900. The rest goes to the Board of Ed, Lenape Regional, and the county. So this is just to show the increase over those 3 years for the average homeowner per entity, per taxing entity. As demonstrated, Medford-based taxing authorities, Township, Lenape, and Board of Ed have experienced flat state aid, or worse, it has decreased. This budget is subject to further feedback from Township Council, but we are looking to introduce the budget on Monday, April 20th at the council meeting. There must be 28 days between budget introduction and budget approval, so we are hoping to have a vote to adopt the budget on May 19th at the regularly scheduled council meeting. Any questions? I know that's a lot, but don't hesitate.
I'll ask a question.
Yeah.
So in one of the slides just prior there, your calendar year 2025 tax collection comparison.
Yes.
So when we collect that $16.5 million for our own uses, is that the portion that you're looking to collect in total, or because of that decreased tax rate, even though it's only 0.75%, are you factoring in that attrition, that loss?
Yes, that's the reserve for uncollected taxes, 100%, yes. So this year, it's just under $1.3 million to basically fill that gap from 95.5 to 100%, because the state knows we're not going to collect 100%, and they know we need to be made whole.
And we're allowed to, so we basically increase the tax for those that don't pay, the rest of us are
Correct.
filling in that.
Correct, we fill in that gap. Of course, if there's extra, that goes into surplus, but we are required to at least, if we are budgeting to, or if we're anticipating to collect 99% of taxes, we need to make sure that 1% is included in our budget, so we are prepared if we only collect 99%, which I know 99% sounds amazing, but that's huge when you're talking about a $27 million budget. Any questions? Yes?
Debt service?
Debt service, yes, that's on here as well. So it's right around $3.6 million worth of the budget.
And what is it for?
That is to fund capital from the prior years. So, for example, the township municipal building, any equipment, vehicles that have been purchased, any improvements to other township buildings, well houses, road programs. So each year we try to do a capital plan that is between $2 to $2.5 million. We try to be fiscally responsible with our borrowing, and we try to prioritize which projects need to be, what is priority, what needs to be done right now, and that is, we then have to borrow money to then pay for that, and that's where debt service is. Let me, of course, okay, so 13% is capital improvement fund / debt service, so $3.45 million of the $27 million budget is to pay for debt. And the capital improvement fund. Capital improvement fund is if we have, say, a $3 million capital plan for this year, we need to budget 5% of that in our regular budget. That's called the capital improvement fund. It's basically the down payment to fund the project.
Are there any capital projects that were requested that we're not able to fund in this budget?
Yes, so the department heads bring a slew of needs to our attention, and we ask them, one, we find out what kind of budget predicament, when they bring it to us, it's in the fall, right? We don't know what kind of budget predicament we'll really be in until we get the AFS, which is in March. And at that point, and state aid, which we find out the first week of March as well. At that point, we then reconvene with the department heads and say, what is mission critical? We hear you, we know you need all this. What do you need this year, and what can we possibly put to next year's capital? So, if we're trying to be responsible and replace ambulances, on a timely basis, could you wait till next year for us to order that ambulance, knowing it takes 2 years to come in, right? So it's a balancing act. Of course, we wish we could, but we also fiscally need to keep our debt as manageable as we can. Certainly, yes.
On your township staffing levels,
Yes.
each of those components, do you have a total budget breakdown of what it is for each one of those?
I do, yes. So it's, and the budget document will be on the township website before the 20th as well. And so basically it has every single department and what the salary and wages for each department broken down. And that includes the overtime for them as well.
You mentioned earlier about I guess you would call it a standard increase in those areas.
Yes.
And how is that determined?
For salaries?
Yes.
So, for example, the police contracts are 4 years. Those are contractual agreements. So it's based on what step the officer is on. That's the amount they're going to be paid for the year. We have very little wiggle room with that. It's a contract. It's a union. Public Works, utilities, they're in a union. They have a contract. So if they've been here 7 years, they are to be paid this if they're a laborer, this if they're a heavy equipment operator. The only township employees that actually are not guaranteed a raise, a bump, anything of that nature is really the admin staff. So that would be the admin at the police, at fire, at Public Works, and at Town Hall. There's never a guarantee of what they'll be given. That is determined by the township manager.
What about the notion of the staff and administrative staff, say, at the township? Are they union employees?
We are not, no ma'am.
So you're talking about union contracts?
Correct.
And that's for which departments?
That would be fire, EMS, Public Works, utilities, police.
But how could you guarantee an increment for those departments when we don't really know what the budget is?
So my job is to gather all the contracts, and I have to be able to provide them what they were agreed upon back when the contract was settled. So, for example, if a contract is a 4-year agreement, Yes, 4 years ago, they might not have been thinking about this year's budget predicament, but that's my job to make sure we have the money to pay them what they are guaranteed to be paid. It's a contractual agreement. I have to pay them that.
But I always thought that, under the circumstances, if funding was not available, that sort of supersedes the notion of paying somebody what they think that they're entitled to. In other words, if you don't have enough funding in the municipal budget, how can you pay, an increment of 4%, 3%?
Right. I'm able to say that with this budget as is, there were no staffing cuts and no reductions of any nature in that regard. No, of course. What? Oh, sorry.
No, you nailed it. I was going to talk about a reduction in force plan that we would have to. I was going to talk about how you would have to do a staffing cut. It's been me all this time. So she mentioned how you would have to reduce staff, but you would still have to satisfy that contractual obligation. So if there is no money, you start terminating. That's a reduction in force. So that was not required.
And when they negotiate those contracts, the township manager will look at projections, for the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years, and that's where they would base those percentage increases on. So they, just like our CFO just put up, the projections of what's anticipated potentially for this year's, Lenape district budget and all the other budgets, they would do the same thing as a township manager. They would look at those projections prior to signing or negotiating that contract.
To make sure they're agreeing upon something that actually can be carried out in 4 years.
Will you look at it differently than, say, in the next 4 years going forward?
Absolutely, yeah. And that was one thing our prior manager did do, is he took all the contracts, sat down with our CFO and laid out kind of, okay, these are where our projections are at, and a lot of our contracts this year are up for regional.
And who would negotiate that?
The township manager.
Yeah, township manager negotiates with the unions. If they can't come to an agreement, then they would go to arbitration or mediation.
Or mediation, correct.
Lindsay, I just want to thank you again for the
Certainly.
presentation. As you know, I share a great concern about the reliance on the fund balance.
Certainly.
And my concern is something that I think we all need to be mindful of, is that at this point, looking at how heavy the fund balance and surplus has been relied on and whatnot over the past decade, we're at a point now, I think, where once we adopt the budget in May 28th, essentially, we're going to be implementing a spending freeze simultaneously.
Right.
Because we need to make sure that we're generating that fund balance and surplus going forward to support us in calendar year 27.
Correct.
So I just want everybody to be mindful of that fact
Yes.
that, yes, it was great that taxes were held over the past decade, but the compounding impact of doing so has left us in I don't want to call it a dire, but a difficult financial situation now going forward.
Correct. Unfortunately, it is a compounding effect from not raising municipal taxes for 8 years, and we are feeling that burden today, and we will continue. It's a perpetual budget cycle that we are in right now. I will say we did cut $1.3 million in expenditures before we got to this budget, and I would say our departments work incredibly hard with the amount of funds that they have been given. Other than contractual agreements of trash and landfill expenses, et cetera, utility costs, all of our expenses have gone up at home. The township is, of course, no exception to that. But I would say our town departments do a wonderful job working within their means. A lot of them have received the same amount of O&E, which is operating funds, that they've received since 2020. So I would say we have a very bare bones budget. There is no fluff, and that's a main reason why surplus does not regenerate, because our budget, there is no fluff. So departments are literally using exactly what they're given. Very little then will roll into surplus. It's honestly a known. We know that now. I already know what that'll look like at the end of the year.
Even though you saw an increase in surplus from 25 to 26, that 1.3 million reduction is going to be difficult, if not impossible, to
regenerate. Certainly.
27.
Concern. There is no requirement, unfortunately. No. And you're allowed to use as much or as little of what you have. However, they do put very strict constraints on how much can be raised in taxes. So naturally, you then look to bring in revenue from your surplus because of the 2% cap that they have on taxes. Even if I wanted to raise taxes 5 cents today, I can't. We are held at that 3.2, which is really the 2% plus what they've allowed outside the cap. That's the only reason it's at 3.2.
Have the auditors given a recommendation for the amount to be held allowance?
They recommended that we raise taxes as much as we are allowed to each year, because if not, we're basically losing that cap bank, and it's a perpetual cycle. Yeah, but it's not like we're exempt, right? A lot of towns are in the same boat, but I would say the prior actions have led us to here, from 8 years of no tax increase. Certainly, yes.
I think, just a suggestion going forward, having spent my whole career in government, I understand that the budgeting and all that. It would be good to let people know as a preamble before they even get into the heart of this, the situation that we're in, because there was not a tax increase that, the following situations have occurred as a result of that. Because seeing that and then seeing the increase is not going to be 1 and 1 is 2 for the average taxpayer. That's just my opinion.
No, certainly.
And I know, members of council, myself, we understand these challenges, and as Councilman Cox said, it will become perpetual if no external changes are made, and this is where I think we all have to look at increasing ratables. Commercial development in Medford is a tough thing to swallow, but those commercial properties will dramatically affect our surplus as we go forward. So, I think we all spoke into our desires of different things to keep out of Medford, but what are the things that we're willing to bring into Medford that can help these budget challenges?
Right, like what actions can we take to help take the burden off of the local tax rate?
Correct.
Certainly.
If I heard you correctly, 64% of the entire tax levy is funded by the residents.
Correct, yes, property taxes, which is $17.4 million.
Yeah, so, and that includes the commercial properties in town?
Correct, that is
Right.
everything,
Okay, so-
yes, all classes of properties.
Clearly we have some commercial in town, but
Right.
residents do bear a large burden there, so.
100%.
If we can just spread that ratio back to a commercial sector, I think even that alone would help us.
Questions? Okay, thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Was it that? I thought so. That was. Certainly, yes, we're going to put it on. Oh. Thank you. Okay, certainly. Thank you. I'll be back the 28th. Do it again.
What's that? I might fall asleep.
This is the worst one.
I was going to say, you got to kind of.
Yeah, up and then push it, right?
Yeah.
That's the best I'm gonna get it.
Great job, Lindsay.
Okay. So sticking with the manager.
Yes, we can jump in and say.
Yeah, sticking with the manager's report, if I may, just on the budget, just so that the dates are clearly stated. Today, on the 14th, we've received the initial budget presentation. Thank you very much, Lindsay, for that. Next Monday, the 20th, we'll be holding a special council meeting where we hope to introduce this budget. 2 weeks from then, and on the 28th, we'll host another budget workshop. On 5/5, there'll be a regularly scheduled council meeting, and we'll continue to have discussions on this budget presentation. And on 5/19, there'll be a town hall dedicated to the budget, in which we hope to have an adoption, public hearing, and the finalization of the 2026 calendar year budget. So we will post all those dates on the website and through social media tomorrow morning. Angela, include her own, but just to make sure that it's official, we'll send them out. But that is our hope with the budget this year. Okay. We'll move to the second item on the manager's report, Chief.
Yep, so, well, first and foremost, I would, again, want to echo everybody's comments. Lindsay, outstanding job. Thank you very much. Fantastic job. A couple things coming up for the residents that they to make everybody aware of. Town Hall will be moving to a summer hours schedule starting June 1st through September 4th. Monday through Thursday, the hours will be 8 a.m. to 4:30. On Fridays, the staff will work 8 a.m. to noon. This is based on historically low foot traffic in the afternoons at the municipal building. And then there are two holidays in there, Juneteenth and the July 4th holiday. I believe it's the 2nd. The 8 a.m. to noon day will be on that Thursday before, because Friday is the holiday. So again, Angela will post these on the township's website. Regarding Taunton Boulevard, we did briefly touch on that earlier. The two resolutions recommending the weight restrictions were sent to the county to be submitted to NJDOT. There was a couple of things that literally just came back today to Chris Knoll. He's going to make some updates to that. And then our township engineer did talk to Joe Brickley from Burlington County, the Burlington County engineer, about the swap of Taunton Boulevard with Hartford Road. We were looking at Mount Laurel Township line to Old Marlton Pike for Taunton Boulevard there. The county was not supportive, unfortunately, based on continuity issue with county roads. They like the roads to connect and not be broken up. Also, Hartford Road would have to be improved to county standards, and this would be, or prior to acceptance by the county, and this would be extremely expensive. So we did follow up on that with the county. A couple other quick things were leaf pickup was completed April 4th. Thanks to George Chestnut and his staff for that. I know they ran into a number of delays with mechanical breakdowns, and then obviously the weather did not do us any favors whatsoever this year. Spring brush pickup has started, and they're on schedule. And then, as we touched on in the budget presentation, the new DPW yard hours are the same, 7 to 2. However, the yard is closing on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That was put out, but we can put that out again, and then we'll be adding another Saturday as well, the first and third Saturdays of the month. And then the only other thing I have is I would ask council to consider ordinance 2026-10, amending the Chapter 19 length of service program and Chapter 71 fees and licenses to enhance incentives for public safety volunteers, that they table that ordinance based on the fact I'm the fire chief and I'm sitting here. I don't feel it's appropriate for us to vote or move on that tonight, so I would table that till we have an interim manager. And then I did have an email, and I just wanted to put this out to the residents. We do have a new email for the Medford Township manager. It's manager@medfordtownship.com. So that will go to the manager's office, and that's regularly checked by myself and other folks. So that's all I have.
And thank you, Chief. Just state again the resolutions you'd like tabled.
Yep, 2026-10, amending Chapter 19, length of service program, and Chapter 71 fees.
Yeah, the ordinance. Yeah, ordinance. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I say resolution?
Yep.
Yeah, ordinance, my bad, sorry about that.
What actions should be taken to table at this moment?
We just need a motion to table ordinance 2026-10 at the time it's called.
At the time, okay.
I'll make a motion to table it now, or when it's
When we get there, yeah.
I apologize, I'm ready, because my buddy and I are like first and second.
All right, Chief.
That's it, thank you.
Great job, thank you. We will move to the clerk's report.
Okay, so we are asking for approval for carnival games for St. Mary of the Lakes Church, May 11th through May 16th. A basket and a 50/50 raffle for Cedar Run, October 17th, and also one on November 1st. And a social and fair permit for Medford Business Association for Oktoberfest, September 18th and 19th. I just need all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Thank you, Karen. All right, we are moving on to the bills list. We have bills list for March 19th, 2026, March 25th, 2026, April 2nd, 2026, and April 8th, 2026. Do any members of council have any questions or comments on the bills list?
No. No question, but just to be mindful, as we saw tonight in the presentation about the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, that fund is dwindling. rapidly, it seems like, and we have, our bills being paid out of that fund, so we have to be mindful of that as we're going forward, so.
May I have a motion to approve the bills list?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Right, the bills list are approved. Now we will move to ordinances for introductions. May I have a motion for ordinance 2026-11?
I moved that council introduce on first reading ordinance 2026-11, amending Chapter 71 fees and licenses of the Township Code for the water and sewer utilities.
Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, so this was discussed during our discussion item section. This ordinance will bring our rates in line with approximately the middle of the pack of the towns, the sample size demonstrated, and this will provide for an opportunity to us to get in front of any unfunded mandates that are coming our way as well. All right, so any questions or comments on this ordinance? No? May I have a roll call?
Ms. Santor?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye. At this time, the public hearing will be on May 5th. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. All right, so now we will move to ordinances for second reading, and they will have a public comment section attached to them. So may I have a motion for ordinance 2026-9?
I move that council adopt on second reading ordinance 2026-9, ordinance to amend and supplement the code of the Township of Medford, Chapter 140, thereof entitled Vehicles and Traffic, to designate an additional stop intersection within Schedule 9 of Section 140-26.
May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, this is to add an additional stop sign at the intersection of Charles and Post Office Lane. All right, so now we will open this up for public comment. If anyone would like to speak to this ordinance, please raise your hand and come to the microphone. Seeing none, motion to close public comment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and now we will ask for a roll call for adoption.
Motion in a second.
Oh, wait,
Motion in a second to adopt.
okay, we got the motion. We need,
There's a roll call.
We'll do two roll calls. First for the ordinance, for the closing public comment.
okay.
Ms. Santor?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Smith?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye.
And then for the ordinance, Ms. Santor?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Mill?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Sisson?
Aye. Okay, the ordinance is adopted. Okay, and then, as we stated earlier,
I'd like to make a motion to table ordinance 2026-10.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That, Mr. Mayor, will also be able to make
the May 5th. Thank you for that. Fine. And Chief, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Okay. So now we will move to the consent agenda resolutions.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to remove Resolution 87-2026 from the consent agenda.
I will remove, we need a second on that.
Second?
Okay, and Councilman, just to understand, you'd like us to move it outside of the consent?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Do we need all in favor or a roll call to move it?
just all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, beautiful. So I will move that outside of consent agenda. So now I will read the consent agenda resolutions. Okay. Resolution 77, 2026, cancellation of outstanding checks. Resolution 78, 2026, authorizing award of contract for public safety vehicle maintenance renewal for a one-year term, for the second term. Resolution 79, 2026, authorizing cancellation of 2026 property taxes on properties owned by a qualified totally disabled exempt veteran. Resolution 80, 2026, appointing Municipal Joint Insurance Fund Commissioner, Alternate Fund Commissioner, Claims Coordinator, and Safety Coordinator. Resolution 81, 2026, appointing contact person for the Employment Practices Liability Helpline, Burlington County Municipal Joint Insurance Fund. Resolution 82, 2026, authorizing a meter replacement program with Rio Supply for the Department of Public Works and Utilities. Resolution 83, 2026, authorizing the approval of a final change order and acceptance of a 2-year maintenance bond for the Riverfront Recycling, and Aggregate LLC for the Himmeline Road Water Main Extension project. That's a big one. We'll touch on that afterwards. Resolution 84, 2026, authorizing approval of extension for the maintenance guarantee period for the Medford Cornerstone project to April 1st, 2027. Resolution 85, 2026, awarding contract to McCormick Taylor, Inc. in the amount of $498,428.69 for the preliminary engineering services for the Main Street North-South Bike Pedestrian Connector Project through the NJDOT Local Aid Design Assistance Program. And Resolution 86, 2026, amending the 2026 temporary budget. Are there any questions or comments on those resolutions? Okay. I'll just make a statement on 83. So much has been said about the condition of Himmeline Road. As we've stated, the fill needed to settle for a period of time. Flowable fill needed to settle. During that period, it was discussed with the schools to allow additional settling until they finish their school year, and then the final surfacing of that road will be done while school is out to not interfere any further with the schools. Yeah, sorry. We've all said that internally. This is just about the bond, but I wanted to speak to the condition of Himmeline Road while it was brought up. Any other questions or comments on those consent agenda resolutions? No? Okay, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second? Okay. Roll call?
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Miller?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Scissor?
Aye. Okay, so now we will, how will we go about this?
So now there's a resolution 87, 2026, appointing Commander Law Group PC as Conflict Legal Counsel pursuant to the non-fair and open process.
Okay.
Need any discussion, motion second, and then roll call.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this resolution? No? Okay, may I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. So now we will do a roll call on this resolution.
Ms. Santamore?
I guess I have to switch to aye.
Santamore? Mr. Cox?
Abstain.
Okay. Ms. Miller?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Scissor?
Aye. Okay. So now we will move to executive. Okay, so now we have our executive session resolution ES 0414-2026. May I have a motion to move to executive?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Okay. Second. And then all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, so we'll be about 3 hours. Okay. An action may or may not be taken.
Drats.
We are.
May be taken. Okay.
Is that resolution 88?
88 we added after.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, so we'll come out of executive and then, so we will take action.
We will take action.
Yeah, yes, we will take action. Okay, perfect. All right.
Don't forget, I was like,
All right, I'm going to reconvene the open portion of the meeting. We finished our executive session. We discussed all the items in executive.
Correct. Just for the records of the flesh, we discussed the sale of real property owned by the township, as well as active litigation in the medical village, and hiring of potential personnel.
Great. We did add Resolution 88, 2026 to the agenda following executive, previous in this meeting. I'll now entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay. Any questions on that resolution? No? Okay. Roll call.
Ms. Santamore?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Aye.
Ms. Milk?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Voorhees?
Aye.
Mayor Scissor?
Aye. All right, the resolution is approved. I will now entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.